What's the key word when we're live? Charlemagne, we're live.
Yeah, Charlemagne, we're live.
Oh my god.
All right. Yeah, it says we're live.
We're live and late.
Yes. Technical difficulty.
Venus is fashionably late.
Yes, fashionably late.
Fashionably late.
Hold on. Fashionably late. Do you guys have your YouTubes up to see the chat and stuff?
I forgot about that part.
But make sure you mute it.
So what do I come out and Zoom or YouTube on, or?
It's on my channel.
Actually, I can do it this way. It's fine.
Okay, what's good, everybody? This is your Cosmic Homegirl, and it has been ages since I have been live on YouTube. I have been technologically handicapped for a long time because of Saturn in my third house, but now he's left, and he's letting me go live again and have working equipment. Yes. So let me just tell you guys what we're going to be talking about today. So Venus retrograde is happening May and June of 2020. So I am discussing what that means for all of us, spilling some tea, going through some horoscopes for each of your signs. This may be a long broadcast, I'm just warning you guys. But I have some special guests though. I have Appollonia, the astrology lady, and I have AstroJack. He is under Jack. Please give your handles, and Appollonia after him. Please give your handles too.
Yes. So thank you. So yeah, my Instagram is Plutable and same on YouTube is Plutable Astro. Thank you.
Yes, Plutoboy Astro.
Oh my gosh. Okay, everybody knows, I think, theastrologylady.com, the astrology lady on Instagram, the astrology lady on Facebook, and it's Miss Astrology Lady on Twitter because the astrology lady wins it. So there you go.
Word. So these are my astro homies. We chat all the time. We speak the language of astrology, and we discuss real life situations, dating, all of that stuff in the language of the cosmos. So we are going to be talking about Venus retrograde and what that means. But first of all, hey, we're going to chat a little bit. And if you don't want to chat, or listen to us chat, we will try to have some timestamps with the replay of this, so you can get to your horoscope or whatever section you want to hear. So we are gonna just talk about how's everybody quarantining under this crazy time that we're in 2020. How you guys doing? How you doing?
I'm doing alright. Actually, I've been doing really loads of Venus and Gemini things. So I started doing this love and relationship course, self-development course, like an online astro thing, and it's with Colin Bedell and Genesis Priest. It's brilliant. It's like integrating astrology and dating and relationships and stuff and sex. It's brilliant. So it's really hitting my big page for love. And I've been learning a new language as well. I've been learning Spanish because Gemini languages, communication. And I'm a dancer as well, so I've been taking, because I've been so busy normally, because I'm actually not busy now, obviously, like most of the world. I've started taking dance classes online. I've been doing ballet, I've been doing contemporary, so it's very Venusian type things. So yeah.
Dope.
And I know, and also yes, the Venus retrograde. So I'm not getting any action now. So Uranus has gone through I've got Uranus going through my 8th house, and Venus through my 8th house as well. So we took matters into our own hands, and we got some sex toys to keep us going through lockdown.
Interesting.
Well, Uranus is like technology, and my 8th house is sex, isn't it? So I thought, you know what, I need to take matters into my own hands. So yeah, I can do a few more weeks on my own.
Yeah. Well, I probably think a lot of people that are quarantining might be masturbating a little bit more than they should or usual.
Yes.
On the other hand, I have not. I wish I was getting some action, but right now it's been pretty slow. Um, but I've been quarantining pretty well. Here with my sisters and my nephews. I have been. And I have a video coming out.
As for me, quarantine and chill is like, I don't know. I really don't have much to say about it. uh, the only thing I can say is it has been a good time as far as somebody said the sound is out.
Really?
They can't hear. Hold on. No sound. The sound went out. Oh. The sound is off. Oh my god. Okay, this is great.
Oh no, they said it just lost sound.
Oh,
It's back now, I think it says.
they're back.
They said we're back now.
Oh, okay, that's weird. Okay, you can hear now. All right. So anyway, as far as quarantine time, the only thing I really want to talk about is the fact that I've been able to like sit and figure out all this technological stuff to be able to do work and stuff again that like I have to like I want to and like I have to. So yeah, usually I'm working like 4 jobs and I was supposed to start a 5th one. But that, that got pushed out because of this whole thing. So sitting still and not working so much is really strange for me. A lot of you guys know that I'm a Taurus. I'm an earth sign. That's my sun sign is Taurus. And my sun and Mars are in the 6th house for those who are a little more advanced. So I am a workaholic. And I'm used to just having to be on the grind. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I really, really want to live my life that way. Like, always working, always at work. But I kind of have to. I do like to stay productive and busy. But how productive and busy I've had to be was driving me crazy. But hey, Tauruses are survivalists. Fuck, whatever. So it's weird. It's weird for me to not have any workplaces to go to. But hey, I can focus now more on what I love doing and my business. And I got, some technological issues fixed, like I said. So that's been the best part about it. Other than that, I don't know. Tauruses, we're pretty chill people anyway. And I'm also a Pisces. We could be introverts, hence my shirt. This new shirt I got that I just absolutely love. We could be introverts and just like to chill and be in our own zone. And I've had a chance to do that a little bit more. But then my Taurus side is like, where's the work? Oh my God. So, yeah, it's been interesting. I can't wait for the world to go back to normal, though, you guys. Like, to just be able to, like, go to the grocery store. Of course, as a Taurus, I'm going to talk about, being able to go buy food. Like, listen, I like... Seriously, like, the other night, I had a craving for ice cream, right? And usually I like to go to Walmart at weird hours of the night when, there's not a bunch of people and kids screaming and shit like that. But I couldn't because they're all closed early now. And I was just like, how am I going to get my ice cream? Like, this is some BS, man. I'm not feeling this.
Essential journeys.
Yes, I'm not feeling this. So, and then last night I finally went to go get my ice cream and there was this long ass line just to get in the store. Okay, so things like that, I'm like, I can't wait for it to be over. And then the whole toilet paper thing, listen, I am like absorbing all of this history in of the times. So I can like, so we can all clown about it later, about the toilet paper.
I think memes have got me through this. We're just sending memes back and forth, literally.
Yes, the memes. Oh my God, from the beginning.
We are going to be talking to our grandkids and great-grandkids about the quarantine of 2020.
I listen, like it's history, isn't it? Can you believe it? Can you believe the amount of time that we're living in?
It is.
We chose to come down, for our life mission and purpose for some reason. So
yeah,
we chose to incarnate at this time. So
now I was just talking to someone about that yesterday, and I was saying like, you guys know I wear my conspiracy theorist tin hat, but just on a soul level, whenever there are mass deaths, they're like mass pregnancies.
Oh God, yes.
There aren't souls recycling through this matrix. It ends. So, with that being said, we typically, here in the States, we typically see everybody pregnant during the summertime, because everybody sits in the house and fuck all winter and everybody's pregnant in the summer.
Yes.
But now, like, look how many babies are going to come from quarantine 2020. So it's going to be very interesting to see people still being pregnant from winter, and then the people that are going to be getting pregnant now. It's going to be very interesting to see how many babies come from this experience, But for the people that aren't, like shaken up, crazy, scared, because from what I hear, just clients and heard through grapevine, everybody's like calling up exes that they used to talk to, people that they're.
I've had so many exes messaging me, hey, like, are you joking?
Yeah.
Well,
it's not the end of the world quite yet.
All mine are blocked, so I don't have that problem.
Oh, really? I'm Libra-rising. We don't block our exes.
Yeah, Libras don't block their exes ever.
We need a plan D, E, and F.
Yeah, Libras. I told you, Libras always need a back burner bitch all the time.
Yeah.
So
we like to be told like, oh, we missed you. We still love you.
Oh my gosh. I could kind of relate being a 7th houser, but then I think my Scorpio kicks in. I'm like, nah.
Well, y'all know I don't have
you must have like this inner turmoil all the time then.
My ex is my psychotic baby daddy, so I don't really have an ex.
Yeah.
Dang.
No exes for me to hit up. I'm looking for new meat. So.
Yeah.
All right, so so that's how we're all doing right now. If you guys want to drop in the chat or in the comment section like how everybody's doing during this quarantine crazy 2020 fucking thing that we're going through, please let us know. But we're going to talk about Venus retrograde today. So we're going to discuss what does that mean exactly. We're going to start out by talking about Venus, what she represents. I say she because I like to characterize the planets when I talk about them, just to make it more down to earth. Like, I don't know. I'm just weird like that. To humanize the experience of like astrology, because it really does affect, like, the planets do affect us, whether you want to believe it or not, they do. And Venus, the planet Venus is feminine energy, and it doesn't matter if you were born what you were born with between your legs. Okay, you will have feminine and masculine energies to some levels, to some degree. Venus rules feminine things in our lives. Yes, it does rule women or feminine creatures, and it also rules like things that are feminine, like the like beauty, makeup, clothes, all of that stuff. But just experiencing life through our five senses as human beings, as physical beings, is Venus. Okay, Venus rules everything: the money that you earn, the things that you buy with your money, the things that you enjoy every day, how you like things to feel on your skin, or the smells that you enjoy, everything, all that stuff is Venus. And Venus, yes, she rules love and relationships, and like I said, she rules your money and your finances. There are other things in astrology that can show money and finances too, but just focusing on Venus, yes, she rules your coins. Okay, so relating one-to-one to other people, even like Venusian relationships, like your friends. Friends, I would say, is more like Mercury and maybe some other, influences. But even just like if you want to go out and have dinner with someone, even if it's just as a friend, that could be, something that Venus rules. Venus rules your sense of self-worth, and also how you think you look, like your vanity, your sense of vanity. If you think you're ugly, if you're having an ugly day, you're a bad hair day, that could be like a bad Venus transit that you're having, for example. So that's what Venus means in general. Did you guys, either of you, want to add to that?
Yeah, I agree. Venus definitely rules, of course, our love lives. It rules how we express love or admiration to other people. Your Venus, of course, rules your money. It also rules how you spend money, what type of things you like to spend money on. Venus also rules how you like to relate to people in a loving way. So it's not just about like, think about how your moon is like, you like to be nurtured, but Venus is more how you need to be loved on and how you like to love on others in an intimate way. So you can have an intimate relationship with your sister, your best friends, your spouse, but it's how that connection needs to be exchanged. So it's very important when you analyze your Venus. It's like, okay, what are my needs in the intimate arena? And I use myself as an example. I'm Venus in Aquarius, so most of the time I like for my intimate relationships to be very mentally massaging. I'm a sapiosexual. I like to have deep, intimate conversations with people. Aquarius energy. Aquarius happens to be the air sign with the most depth. Aquarius people, you will find that they can do the little ratchet air shit and be very deep and mentally complex. So I have the best of both worlds with my Venus in Aquarius. So I don't like superficial, let's just scratch the surface, how's the weather. I don't like little water cooler conversations like that. So if a man wants to date me or get to know me, or if a person wants to be my friend and get to know me on a deeper level, then you have to be intimate with me in a very Aquarius type of way. So if you happen to have Venus in Gemini, your Venus may respond in a very playful, let's have a good time. It's not that deep. It's just intimacy. It's not that deep, you know. You may not require as much substance as a person who has Venus in Aquarius or Venus in Scorpio, things of that nature. So when you're looking at your Venus, look at things like that. And also, again, how you like to spend money, how you like to set up your ambiance. That's your Venus. So if you were to walk into a room and it looked like the perfect setting for you to get comfortable and have a good time, that's your Venus. The ambiance around you, how you like to set up your space to feel comfortable, because Venus is about your comfort. So think about your Venus from that perspective as well. I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I'm ruled by Venus and Libra rising, so like the Venus transits are so important to me. Like, I really seem to feel all of them as well. You know, like when I've got the Venus square Pluto in my chart, I really feel that. And then all the triggers for the moon, and then like a Mercury or something hits it, I really feel that. You know, I didn't realise we were Venus twins. So you know, I'm Venus and Aquarius too. But I find with mine that I really need, as much as it's in the 5th house, I love today, I love relationships, whatever. But at the same time, with that Aquarian Venus, I really cherish my own space as well. Do you have, and I find it hard to get the balance sometimes. I want to be like passionately consumed, but I need distance too. So, do you find that too, Happy?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure, because I had to mute for a second because the lawnmowers were passing by.
I was just saying because we're Venus twins that I find my Venus in Aquarius, I need space as well as like depth, emotional fulfillment, but I really need that space as well. Being Aquarian, I need my own sort of like you do you, I do me. Like, I've been loosely dating this Venus, so he's an Aquarian moon. And I found that he was more flighty and like airy than I am. So like, if I don't text him, we don't speak for weeks on end. Because he's that Aquarius moon, it's not an issue. But I've not dealt with that before because I've got that Venus in Aquarius. But having the Aquarian moon is another level of like airiness, shall we say? So
yeah, I agree with you there, Jack. Because as Venus is in Aquarius as well, and our Venuses are conjunct, Jack. And, yeah, I deal with the same things of wanting to have a partner, but have a partner that's okay with me having my space. Because I don't want to be bothered all the time. I don't want to be up your ass 24/7. It's not and you let me know if this is how you feel too. Venus in Gemini, for example, to me, they don't want to be bothered just because Gemini energy is very fickle and moody. But me as Venus in Aquarius, I like for my partner to feel new in a sense.
Yeah.
So if I'm up under you all fucking day, then this feels stale. Like, I need you to go outside, do something for you, have some other experiences, recycle the energy, and then come back later and we can talk about our findings, how our day was. But if we're up under each other all fucking day, I know exactly how your day was. I know exactly what you've been doing. Because you've been in my face all fucking day.
Fucking day, yeah, exactly. passion needs distance to thrive, though, I think, you know? So, like, yeah, for me, it's a massive turn up if someone's like constantly, hey, what you doing? Or I want to do what you're doing. I'm like, that for me is an instant turn off. I need someone who's got their own life, got their own shit going on, you know, they're really busy, but we have time for each other at the same time, you know what I mean? Like, I can't be doing with someone who's like, even as much as my Libra likes to be idolised or whatever, you still need to do doing you and have something about you as well, you know? So,
yeah.
And I think it's really important when you're looking at synastry and charts as well, like, if your Venus signs are even compatible, as well as other aspects of your Venus as well, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, but with my Venus, it's conjunct my South Node, so I can't just have like an easy relationship or just a quick one night stand. It always comes with a lesson or a past life issue or past life karma.
And
so that's fun.
This is the thing too. While we're talking about this, so Venus, the house that your Venus is in, of course, plays a part too. So I'm Venus in Aquarius, but my Venus is in the 12th house. So that's a water house. And I think your Venus is in the 4th, right, Jack?
Yeah, 4th in Placidus and 5th in Hull.
Yeah. So with you dealing with that 4th house energy, that's a water house too. So
oh my God, that's what I'm attracting these.
Feel real. Yes. Like it can't feel like this is not a plaything because it's water energy. So don't come playing in my face if you say you want to fuck with me like that. But at the same time, it can't be so intense that I can't breathe. So the water house or the water energy, it needs to be real. It needs to be substance there. It needs to feel like I can, there's some emotion attached to it, but it can't be so intense that I can't breathe, I can't be myself.
Yes. Like I said, because we were chatting before we went on air, and I was about all these Pisces men that I'm attracting. Yeah. I think it is that, but that water, I have got 2 air stadiums. I need to breathe, like, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Definitely.
I love those Pisces boys.
Yeah. Do you attract Cancers too with your Venus in 4th?
I've attracted a lot of guys with Mars in Cancer, and that hasn't actually played out so well because Mars doesn't do that great in Cancer anyway, and I don't like Mars in Cancer.
Yeah.
For me, because I have Mars, my 7th house is Aries, and my 7th house ruler, the ruler of my relationships, how I want relationships, is my 1st house, so I need confrontation, I need fire, you know, and that watery Mars just gives me like kills my erection, basically.
And
too many.
This is the issue. My Venus in Aquarius comes out to play, and she attracts all of these playful, not too serious guys. And then, men tend to say Aquarius women are teases or flirts, shit like that. So, but then my Mars is in Scorpio, and I have Mars conjunct Pluto in Scorpio. So it's like, once I start delving, like, I need some more intensity than that, bro.
Well, I have that square. I have the square, don't I? So I need that. I love that. Like, even though as much as I love, playing the field and stuff, I love that deep, all-consuming, passionate, scorpionic love. Because I had that Venus square Pluto. Like, I feel everything. Like, when it comes to love, I'm like, I feel everything.
Oh my God! I had Venus square Pluto too, Jack, and I
did.
hate it.
But I thought it's so interesting that you picked up, and I never even realised we were talking about this. That I get a lot of crazy partners who, like, when things don't work out, they start to smash up my shit and smash up my valuables and things. It's that Venus square, because Venus is your possessions, and Pluto is like the god of hell. So if they don't get what they want, they go fucking crazy.
Now, see, Jack, your Venus and Pluto and your partners fuck your shit up when they.
It turns me on a bit though sometimes.
Pluto.
So I like that.
Not only is Pluto destroying, Pluto also rules repossessions, take-backs, that's 8th house shit. So whenever I leave a guy, oh, he wants to take all the shit he gave
Yes.
me. I bought this. I bought
That
you
thing I bought you
all
10
my shit back. And it's,
Yes.
dude, like
I
every
threw
time.
that away. I threw it away. When I broke up with you, I threw it away. It's in the bin. What do you guys call it? The trash. It's in the trash.
Yeah. So
Oh my god!
that's very
Well, I've been doing like loads of remedies. Like I'm like going to get deep into astrology. We do like remedies and stuff. So I've got behind me a big goddess, Gali. She represents Pluto, and it's a painting. So it's Venus. So that's supposed to remedy like that square.
Yeah.
Venus is a painting, and Pluto the picture.
I'm gonna have to put her on my altar because I didn't do that.
Yeah. So, or you can remedy with so like Venus is to do with dancing, so you can do like sexual dancing or exotic dance, or if you don't want to dance, you can paint like Venus. Sorry, Pluto rules death, so you could paint skulls and things like that. So I'll do that, paint skulls, or paint like a cactus is supposed to be Plutonian as well. That's for remedy your aspects. If you want to get really deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How my Venus and Pluto squares set up, it's either good dick or money. And
Yes.
I'm not gonna be able to get around.
Do you have like good but broke dick? Good but no money dick.
My Cappy is set up. If he's broke, he just don't deserve no coochie. Like,
oh my god, I wish my Cappy was stronger than that.
See,
my Libra's like, but he's cute though.
Yeah, see, your Libra is like, but he's cute. See, no. Your cuteness ain't gonna get you that far with me.
Cuteness not gonna pay my bills.
No, I can't. To the light bill company, no. So I'm trying to be more open. I'm trying to, but honestly, like, if a guy really doesn't have a pot to piss in, I'm usually gonna be turned off.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm gonna get turned off, so it'll turn into nothing. It'll turn into nothing. So to the audience listening, pull your Venus aspects. See if you have any afflictions to your Venus. Afflictions meaning squares, oppositions, quincunxes. See if you have any of these. So for the people who aren't sure, or maybe you're new, so a square is the sign that's 3 signs away from your Venus. So, for example, me and Jack are Venus is Aquarius. So Scorpio is 3 signs that way. So Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, and then, or Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius. Do it that way. Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius. So count 3 signs from the sign of your Venus, and that's how you know it's a square. Sometimes it can square by degree. We'll have to delve into that in a second or later on. But I just want people to kind of pick this up in their minds. Opposition, of course, is the sign opposite of your Venus. So if you have oppositions, or if you have any Venus, that's 5 signs away. So look and see if you have any afflictions to your Venus, because a lot of those things can be playing out during the Venus retrograde. So me and Jack are going to be on the look for Venus square Pluto issues this retrograde. Is your Venus afflicted? I know me and Jack have been going on about ours. What aspects does your Venus make?
So I have Venus in Taurus in the 7th house, and she is in very tight conjunction with my Sun, Mercury, and Chiron. She is closest to Chiron, only 1 degree away. So she doesn't really make any other aspects, except if you want to go by traditional like Eastern astrology, where they count just something being in an opposite sign to one another as an opposition aspect. I guess you could say it opposes Uranus, but going by like regular astrology to in the Western, where we're like super nerdy about the aspects and the orbs, she doesn't make the aspect is too wide to really count. But Venus conjunct Chiron, I would say, is my biggest issue with my Venus. I don't like that aspect at all. I don't like to talk about it too much because it gets me choked up because I'm like hella Venus ruled. And so relationships and money, when things are going wrong with either one of those, especially both at the same time, I feel like my whole world is just like shit, and has ended and is over, and what's the point of living? I get like all in my feelings about stuff like that. But Venus conjunct Chiron has brought me Chiron, for those who don't know, is the asteroid that's called the wounded healers. So yes, I have attracted like wounded men, not like literally, you know, they lost a limb or anything, but or none that have like any type of handicaps physically or anything, or mental. Yes, one he was bipolar and a psychopath. The others, they have some sort of issue. We all have our issues, but I have attracted men who have issues like with expressing love. Venus is expression of love and emotion, and Chiron could be like a wound or an issue. So yeah, I have attracted some men who have issues with actually expressing their own Venus energy towards me. Not 100%, not every single dude that I've been involved with, but you know, I have a tendency to attract those types. Or I've had I've had some issues with Venus and Chiron together. I've had like involvement with guys, you know, especially at a young age, and then they ended up passing away somehow. Like I have a few of those. Just stuff like that. But Venus conjunct Mercury, and in the 7th house of relationships, Mercury rules youthful energy, younger people. It rules Gemini, it rules Virgo. Yes, I attract a lot of Gemini and Virgo, or 3rd house and 6th house, or there's, you know, something that equates to those energies. I attract a lot. And younger, yes, younger men, younger guys. I've always attracted younger and been attracted to younger. And I don't really have a problem with that. I do prefer, because the sun is also in that conjunction. And the sun is a very powerful masculine energy that's about leadership and stuff like that. And in my chart, the sun rules my 10th house, which is maturity. So I'm not really attracted to older. I've never been attracted to older. But I prefer a guy who has a youthful spirit, or maybe they could be older, but they look young and have a youthful spirit. Or maybe they are young in age, but they still have their shit together. Like they know they're hard workers. They know how to hold down a job and hold down a life. And just with real life things, they're mature. But when it comes to like interests and hanging out with me and joking around and playing with me and flirting, I have to have a youthful energy, or else I will be bored AF. Like I cannot. I'm sorry. I know it's like a standard thing for women to seek out an older man. That has never been, like, that's how I've always felt since since I was really young, since I was a teenager. I just don't ever find myself attracted to a mature looking or acting man. They have to have youth.
I have Venus in the 5th. Sorry, I have Mercury in the 5th, so I date with guys too.
But see, and Jack, you and I, we know how, you know, we both have a youthful, we look younger than we really are. So,
yes,
you know what I'm saying? It works for us.
Yes, definitely. I'm just attractive.
I don't know what the problem is, because I've been attracting younger lately, and your girl ain't about that life.
It's your Cappy.
Because again, I think it goes back to My Cap energy. So you guys know I'm an Aquarius. I'm Aquarius rising. So the sun rules my 7th house. And so my sun is in Cappy. So when I'm thinking about long-term dating and shit, I'm like, he's only 20-something. What can I possibly expect from him? Like, he probably ain't got no fucking money to take me nowhere. I'm not about to go to his parents' house to get some dick off of him. It's not, because April, this was like a couple years back, but April remembers when I had my little rendezvous with that 26-year-old, and he took me back to his parents' house. Like, now he paid for the date. We went to like a couple different clubs. He paid the cover charges. He bought me drinks all night. That was cool. But he didn't have a car, and he lived with his parents. So when we got to his parents' house, and you know, we about to get it in, and all of this shit about be quiet, you're being too loud, you have to whisper. Oh my God, you're gonna like, what is going on? Like, I'm over 30 years old, yo, and you're 26. Do you think your parents don't know that you in here fucking? They know. So what are they gonna do? Are they gonna come in here and beat our ass if they catch us?
Come in with a belt?
Like,
they're gonna come swinging with a belt.
He told me to shush one too many times, and I got up and put my fucking clothes on. Like, no, I'm not about to do this. I'm not about to do this. No, I'm not about to do this. And his young ass had a nice size penis. Like, young boy was packing, but no.
I could have kept quiet for that.
Telling me to be quiet? I can't even get in my fucking groove.
Oh my God. Like, what keeps coming in my mind is scenes from like the old movies and stuff where the parents walk in and they're like,
That's how he was acting. Like, his mom and dad was gonna come in there,
crack a belt.
If we got caught,
they're gonna crack the belt.
Yes. Why did you bring me over here? And I'm not loud. I wasn't even making much noise. But it's a simple fact that, you know, when you're scared of your parents and every little noise, you're like, oh shit, did they hear that? Did they hear that? It was like, that's what he was doing. So maybe he got in trouble for bringing a girl home before or something. I don't fucking know. But that's what I think about when I think about young dudes. When I think about young dudes, all my Cappy can think is, oh, he don't have any fucking money. Oh, he don't have his own place to fuck me. Oh yeah, that's it for me. No.
Oh, then my lead was like, but he's so cute.
Yes, and my Venus is in the 7th, so I'm like, I'm all about the cute. The cute, I get it. I'm a sucker for the cute, but I've learned some hard lessons.
I love those pretty boys.
Oh my gosh, I do. I have always attracted pretty boys, but then there's a part of me that's kind of turned off by them. And it's like, I like how they look, but then I always joke around and say they're too pretty to change a damn tire or change a fucking light bulb. They like too pretty to pick up a wrench, you know, because that's how it ends up a lot of times. Oh my God, yes, you're Libra rising, so you know what I mean. I know. Like,
we didn't do that.
I know. I've been in situations before where I did. I had a boyfriend a long time ago. We were both really young. He was still in high school, and I was fresh out. And he was a pretty boy, and we got stuck on the freeway in my car at like 3:00 in the morning, and it was so embarrassing. I had to call my dad. And my dad was like, don't you have your boyfriend with you? And I was just quiet. Like, oh my God, like, what do I say? Because...
Yeah, but he's a Libra, so you need to come quickly.
Yes, no, he had Venus. Yo, he was a Sag, but he had Venus and Mars in Libra.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Mars in Libra,
So he was
And
just
April,
like
I
confused.
know your pops was old school, so he was like, ain't your man in the car with you?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. He was. It was embarrassing. Like my dad called me out without even having to call me out. I was just quiet. Like I knew what he was. I felt his like, his scowl through the phone at my choice of a boyfriend. Yeah.
Wow.
So
but
yeah.
I have to add, as a Cappy, my Cap stellium is in the 11th house, which is more Aquarius energy added to my Aquarius rising. And I like a man to be mature, but he gotta have like if I fuck with an older guy, he has to be like have swag, like that nice salt and pepper hair. He kind of keeps himself up, kind of thing. So I will entertain an older gentleman if he looks good. Like, for example, Method Man, the rapper from Wu-Tang, y'all go look at his Instagram. He look good than a motherfucker. Like he's aging gracefully. Like he's taking care of himself. He still look good. Mike Epps is another one of my older guys, celebrity crusher. He look good. I can do that. But if you're an older guy and you like talking about your fucking bowels and your blood pressure medication.
Oh God, yes.
No, I can't do it because
I've been trying.
I always talk about the date that I had with an older guy, and he asked me out to dinner, and he owned a janitorial business, and his business is cleaning for a company that I work for. So he was like always bringing me coffee. He would bring me breakfast in the morning when he would see me get on the elevator for work and shit like that. So he just kept bothering me. So I was like, okay, I'll just let him take me out. Aquarius things. So we ended up going out, and on the date, when we got there, he just kept doing old nigga shit. Like, when we got there, he asked the waitress for the fucking newspaper. That was the first strike. And I was like, who the fuck still reads the newspaper? And when he read the newspaper, he said, yeah, I like to read the obituary section from time to time.
Is he trying to find his homies in there?
I was just thinking the same thing.
Like, which one of my homies done died this week?
And that's what he said, April. He was like, yeah, I always read the paper, and people I went to high school and shit and passed away, I didn't even know. Okay, what do you do? So the next thing he said, oh damn, I left my blood pressure pills in the car. I like to take it with my dinner. Oh my God, I didn't need to know that. I didn't need to know about your fucking blood pressure pill. And then when the waitress came and was like asking us, do we want boxes for to go? He was like, yeah, let me get a box. And he said, because I'm a sprint and chicken breast in the morning when I get up. Like,
oh God.
Just get away from me.
Oh my God.
Get away from me.
See, listen, everybody's different, and see, we all are having discussions about how our Venuses are different and play out in attraction. I have said this time and time again. Even when I'm an old I'm not gonna be attracted to old motherfuckers, okay? I'm just not. I'm not. Like, cause that right there, I'm just like, yes. Like I want to do the Mr. Burns.
Oh God, I've never dated anyone older than me. I'm on dating apps at the moment because obviously being this Gemini communication and stuff. So I've been chatting to guys like, oh God, he's really old. He's not old. He's my age. I forget that I'm actually the age that I am because I have that Saturn in the first house. makes you look younger. And I was like,
yeah.
oh shit, he's not old, but he's like my age. I think I'm still 21. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yes, you are, Jack.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Oh shit, yeah, 21 Vegas.
Yes.
I think my cutoff, I don't really have an age cutoff. It depends on what he looks like. I probably can't do over 50. It just depends on what he looks like.
Well, I've not had sex for a few weeks, so I'm not that picky anymore. My options are open since lockdown.
As long as his penis works and there's no old man erectile dysfunction, dudes are having that erectile dysfunction shit.
Oh god, I was dating this Saji and he kept taking Viagra all the time.
Yeah.
And I was really worried that he was gonna because Saji's quite vigorous when they're having sex or whatever. But I was really worried that he was gonna have a heart attack because he was taking his Viagra. And he had Mars and Sagittarius, and those guys want to look like machine guns sort of thing. So I'm like whatever, and I was like, oh my god, I'm scared of his life. So yeah, I have not really had that much experience with older guys or guys my own age really.
Yeah, I was chatting with the older guy this week. He's a Gemini. I forget where his Mars is, but the conversation started to get a little sexual, and I was asking him, did he have any, erectile dysfunction issues? I think he's 46. And he looks good because he's a Gemini. He looks really good. He takes care of himself. And he's like, well, I don't have any issues like that, but if I need a pill, I know where to go and get one. And I was like, need a pill?
Yeah, because Mr. Sagittarius. Yeah, because that Mr. Sagittarius guy, he was like, oh, 1 minute, I'm just going to take this pill. I was like, oh, okay. How long do we have to wait for it to kick in? I've got time to put some... so...
Yeah. All right. So, okay, so we did... I'm looking at the agenda. Okay, so we discussed our Venus signs, and I was discussing Venus in everybody else's charts, too, in the chat. Candace said the story about the old dude with the newspaper and the blood pressure pills had her dying. That story always cracks me up too. All right, so
huh?
I
was like, oh hell no.
Yeah.
As soon as I get to the car, he blocked.
Wow.
That's such an Aquarius thing to do.
Yeah.
Yes, I block niggas in the car when I leave the date.
Yeah, guilty.
I turn on my to get home.
April hates that blocking shit.
You know what, guys?
Ghosting, sorry.
Ghosting, yeah. I hate ghosting.
Don't get her started.
Oh my gosh. I have such fixed energy in my chart. Aquarius is fixed too, but it's more open than the other fixed signs. I'm a Taurus and a Scorpio, and I just like for people to be straightforward, and I don't really play around with dating very much, and with people and their souls and my soul, and I look at it in a more serious way, and that's not to say that I'm always looking for a serious relationship. I have had one successful open relationship and a couple of attempts, but usually the dudes, they turn into bitches somehow, and I don't know, it just didn't work. But I'm open to different types of connections to guys, but I just don't have I have too much of a filter and a wall and a block up to constantly be letting them in and shooing them out, letting them in, shooting them out. I don't have the energy for it. It's exhausting to me because I like to actually take the time and get to know someone. And if I haven't had a chance to talk to you a lot or feel out your energy a few times yet, I'm not going to give somebody the time of day, go on a date with them or anything like that. I don't like the surprise of Like I live vicariously through you guys talking about like being catfished on dating apps and like it's entertaining to me to listen to you guys' stories, but personally I don't have the energy for it. Like I deal with one and then I'm exhausted and I can't deal with another male for a period of time because I'm trying to get rid of that one, the last one, and some what my luck has been since being newly single after almost a decade has been very intense, heavy karmic relationships coming through. Like I meet somebody and I'm like, oh, this is fun and exciting, and to meet a new dude, and wow, and it usually is somebody I kind of get to know a little bit, and then that's exciting, and then we hang out or whatever. But it hasn't been able to be light-hearted. It's been heavy, and I'm not gonna go too much into that detail, but you two as my homies, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's exhausting. Yeah, like humans are exhausting because I'm so receptive too as a Pisces moon. I connect with their soul, not just like, oh, it's a human toy, play with them. Oh, I'm bored now. Throw them to the side, find a new one. Like, pick them up off the shelf because I'm bored now. Wee, okay, you suck now. Ooh, go over that. Like, I wish I had it in me. Yes, I wish I had it in me, you guys, but I just don't. Like, I've tried, but I don't. So I don't really have too many mofos to block in my life these days. It's not too many of them. Like, I don't have the energy. I just don't. I'm trying to do me. I'm trying to rebuild my life after practically a divorce, being with somebody for almost a decade. That's a long ass time. And so I don't have the energy. Hey, with Uranus moving over me my entire existence and into my 7th house of relationships, who knows what it'll bring to me in the next like 5-6 years. But as of right now, I am tired, like soul level tired. I can't. So
wait till your Leo moon kicks in.
Oh my God, no, but my Leo moon on my solar return is right on my IC, so it's still going to be like this sappy, cancer-y energy in the mix, and I'm like...
Be like, I deserve so much better than that.
Yes! I deserve. I'm going to be hair flipping. I deserve. Yeah, I deserve. Yes, that's going to be my little motto for the next year. Yeah, so anyway, so I really wish I could join in on like all the... the fun and games of it all with Venus. But even during this Venus retrograde in Gemini, like for me, it's in my 8th house. That's a very serious part of your chart that has to do with intimate connections with people on a very deep soul level. So the rewind of it all with the retrograde motion is not bringing up a lot of fun, lighthearted Gemini things for me. It's like these soul connections and stuff like that, motherfucker, like apologizing to me for the past in my dreams, like, which is dope. The apologies are dope, but yo, like, it's heavy stuff. You know what I mean? So I wish I could have more fun stuff to to join in on, but.
I think the retrograde kind of makes us like reevaluate all those relationships and what we, the energy put into our intimate relationships. There's going to be that retrograde energy. We evaluate everything. Why are we connected to people that we're connected to? Are we being nourished? Are we showing up? Are they showing up how we want them to?
Yeah, true that. And you know what? That leads into us following along with the agenda, explaining Venus retrograde and what exactly it means. So I'm just going to give a few little stats and stuff, and then we'll discuss. So of course, Venus ruling love and relationships and money and all the things we enjoy as humans. When it goes retrograde, this only happens once every couple of years, and it's in different signs when it does happen. But there are cycles to all of the planetary motions. So this Venus retrograde that we are having in May is a repeat of Venus retrograde in 2012. So we will also get into that a little later, like what happened during that time, if we can recall. And if you guys can recall that time period too, is May and June of 2012. Venus retrograde in Gemini, almost the same dates, the same date range. So if you guys can remember that, of course, join in on the chat or the comments. Excuse me. And the last time Venus was retrograde, most recently, was in the fall of 2018, and it was retrograde in the signs of Scorpio and Libra. It got up to 10 degrees of Scorpio, and then it went back into Libra, and then forward in Libra, and then, back into Scorpio. We will talk about that too. I do have some interesting stuff to share about that. Like, woo, life-changing, crazy. But anyhow, when Venus goes retrograde, any retrograde motion of a planet could be like a review and a revise of what that planet rules. So we could be going over this time. Excuse me. Right now, it's in its shadow period, which means it's building up to. It's slowing down. It's preparing to go retrograde, so it's slowing down. So we can already experience and feel and see the effects right now as we're recording this. But it's going to actually be in its retrograde motion. Excuse me. Starting in mid-May. Dang it! I thought I had the dates down. We have the dates on the flyer, okay? But May through June, and I'll definitely put some in the notes somewhere too. But we're reviewing and revising things that have to do with love and money, basically, and other things in between. And also, like I said, Venus rules femininity. So if you are a feminine being, or even if you are a physical male, but you are really in tune with your feminine side of yourself, like that is creative, artistic, very romantic, expressive of your emotions and love and everything, you are even reviewing and revising, how you handle all of those things, how you express those things. And also, if you are a masculine being that's attracted to feminine energy in others, you are reviewing and revising your attraction to them, who you're attracted to and why, and who you allow in your life, who you date and why, and maybe even some past relationships that you've had with feminine beings, and what can you do better next time? And maybe some of them are coming back from the past. That could be either in memory only, or it can be like somebody like, Jack is saying, people are hitting his DMs like crazy. So people are actually messaging you, or maybe you accidentally running into an ex, and that brings back something from the past for you to review and revise that relationship, or how you handle relationships in general. There could be a lot of lessons learned about that. And it could, since we're all quarantined and everything, like I said, it could just be an internal thing. You're just thinking about all this stuff, or there's things that just happen to come to you from other sources. You watch a TV show that you're binge watching, and it reminds you, something clicks in your mind about how you handle money or a relationship issue, and it's just like, whoa, so you can't escape it no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So we're all reviewing those things during this period. Now, of course, how it affects you exactly, it depends on where Gemini is at in your chart, because that's a sign that Venus is retrograde in. And also maybe what house Venus rules for you, that could be affected as well. So with how you handle money and relationships and whatnot. So that's what Venus retrograde can bring to all of us. With it being in the sign of Gemini in general, like I said, I'm gonna be a nerd and say, as an astrologer, I'm gonna say, with it being a Gemini, it could just be, how lighthearted are you in love, and what communication within relationships. Yeah, that could be something that does come up for us in general as a collective, and especially because I did a video, it's on my channel, of Venus square Neptune. Venus will be squaring Neptune the whole month of May, and it'll be retrograde like from the middle to the end of the month, and squaring Neptune. So that is something to do with like people disappearing, or maybe there's people that disappeared and then they decide to come back around, and maybe they may be wishy-washy and do that a few times like during that period. Or if you have that happen to you a lot within existing relationships, maybe you're thinking about that happening, like, and why, and what makes motherfuckers ghost, and do stupid things like that. So yeah, I don't know. That's what I have to say about the general stats. Do you guys have anything to add to Venus retrograde?
Yeah. I was thinking actually it's quite apt how Venus rules like the things that we enjoy, like going out, drinking, going for food, meeting people, connections. And none of us are really doing that right now because we're going into the lockdown phase. And actually, Venus is going backwards, so it's quite apt actually how we all stopped from doing Venus type things. And with it being in Venus in Gemini, maybe looking at different ways we can still do Venusian things, but using Geminian ways now because we can't do them the normal way that we would normally do them. But yeah, I think I agree. Like, this is definitely a great time to examine, redefine our relationships, our partnerships, how we spend money, questioning our values as well. Because traditionally, Venus rules the second house. The second house is values, isn't it?
Yep.
This is all about go with your values. Why you do what you do. The Earth is stopped for a reason. I think this is the time now for us to evaluate our lives if you choose to, really. But I've noticed just in my own circle of friends with this retrograde or the shadow period that people are breaking up and there's loads of scandals going on. Oh my god, I found out my one friend said she found her partner had been leading a separate life where she's got another boyfriend and the one was married, got children she never knew. And all these revelations are coming up now during Venus retrograde. People can, not saying everybody will, but people can tend to break up, and the traditional astrologers do say that it's not the best time to sign contracts or get married or whatever, but yourself, you have to live your own life and make your own decisions regardless of what's going on in the sky. But those are the aspects that we're dealt with. It's not a great time for business decisions or signing contracts, really, if you can put it off. But again, you have to live your own life. And I've noticed on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like people cutting their own hair and doing mad shit like to themselves because they can't get to the salon, they can't get to the nail technician or whatever. And that's very much Venus retrograde, I think, as well, isn't it? I've noticed loads of guys on my Instagram are shaving their hair off because they can't get to the salon and things. That's very I thought Venus retrograde-y. So I don't think it's the best time to go for a radical haircut or do something new. But if you're gonna buy the same makeup or buy the same hair dye, maybe that'd be better, maybe. But yeah, it's definitely a really good time to go over your finances, go over old shit. I don't know. Venus retrograde probably has no boundaries when it comes to spending money as well. So maybe be more careful as to what you're spending your money on, because you're probably not going to like it, in a few months' time, or big purchases like that. But yeah, that's what I was thinking. Also, I wrote down, don't go have Botox or any cosmetic surgery. You can put it off until later on in the year.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed.
I agree. Jack hit the nail on the head. I had wrote the similar thing in my notes about when, and I have predictive dates too in my COVID-19 video of when a lot of the quarantine action stuff will kind of be lifted. But of course, they're gonna let us do things little by little. So I agree with Venus being in retrograde when things are kind of coming back online. The restaurants may only allow a few people at a time, or you only be able to do this at certain times and places, stuff like that. So that's very Venus in retrograde. We aren't able to enjoy the ambiance of life how we typically are. There are some things that are taking a step back or is slowing down, stuff like that. So I agree with us as a people living during Venus in retrograde, things will not feel Venusian during that particular time. And of course, Gemini energy likes to be social, likes to, interface with other people and go out and be bubbly and all of that kind of stuff. And with Venus in retrograde, we aren't going to be able to fully express that in the way that we typically do, or the way that we typically would during that particular time. So finding new ways to entertain ourselves, because as we know, Gemini is the sign that always says, "Oh, I'm bored.
Yes.
I'm bored."
Jeez.
Like, oh my God, how? And me being happy, I look at Gemini's like, how the fuck can you be bored? There's so much to do.
Oh my
My
god.
Cap Moon's like, how are you bored? Why are you building your empire? Why are you stacking your cash?
Exactly. Go build your fucking empire. You got a lot.
Bored? Where's your life plan? What's your plan?
Oh my god. My Cappy hates when people say, when my kids say I'm bored, I just squint my eyes. Go read a book.
Oh my gosh. My dad used to tell us that too. Or actually, I'm sure my dad had Virgo in his chart somewhere because he would make us go clean something. You're bored. Go clean the yard. Go pick up that dog shit in the backyard.
Girl, my mom was Mars and Virgo, and if we told her we were bored too, she said, "Oh, well, the baseboards need to be scrubbed."
Oh my god.
The bathroom. Yeah.
My lunar ascendant is Virgo at the moment, and all I've been doing is cleaning all month. I've just bought a new vacuum cleaner today. I'm really excited. And I'm not like a hobo, but I don't really clean too much. But this month, since that Virgo ascendant hit, I've literally been like bleaching shit, I've been buying like cleaning products. I'm like, what? Who am I?
Oh my god.
Libras aren't the best housekeepers.
No, we do this.
Yeah,
and that's we don't do like around us. So I look cute though.
I had a male client who was telling me about this girl that he was dating, and he's like, "Yeah, you know, I really love her, and I do everything for her. But when I come home, the house is filthy." And
my ex used to say that to me.
I said,
my ex used to say that to me.
"Is she a Libra?" He said, "She's a Libra moon." Oh. There you go. Whenever I hear guys talk about that, like, my woman looks good, but she's a fucking dirtball. She's probably a
My
Libra.
ex is like that to me. He's like, "You're so beautiful, but you're disgusting."
Yeah. Libras are first with that, and then Sages are second with that.
Sages like, what's cleaning?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sages are like,
they're too busy going on an adventure to clean.
Sages are like, why do I gotta clean up? That's not important.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I wanted to touch on what Jack was saying about like buying things and like vanity and beauty with Venus retrograde. When Venus is in its Venus is in its shadow period right now. And my sister is a Gemini rising, and I stopped by her house last night, and she handed me this shirt, and I was like, what am I gonna do with this? She has a different body type. We have two opposite body types, let's just say that. And I'm like, what am I gonna do with one of your shirts? And she's like, oh, well, I accidentally bought a size smaller. Maybe you can use it as like a flowy, nice, cute shirt. I didn't look at the size when I bought it, and I'm like, nah, I already know this isn't gonna work for me. And yes, things that you buy, like food, okay, like I love ice cream as a Taurus. And I bought the wrong ice cream. I grabbed the wrong one. I grabbed the wrong ice cream yesterday, and I was pissed because I can't eat peanut butter, and I grabbed a fucking peanut butter ice cream. When I got home, I was excited to have it, and it's like, really, I can't even eat this. Why didn't I look at the damn label? So even stuff like that, just little things like that, when Venus is in retrograde, you need to be careful of your purchases.
Yeah. It's a bit like Mercury, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, it can be like that. Buying unnecessary things, especially when it's in Gemini. It's in Gemini, which is very like, just like, woo, whatever.
Because I have that Venus retrograde in my chart, and I find sometimes, especially when I was younger, I had no sort of boundaries with money. So.
Oh.
Dang.
I'm better.
I just
better now.
The last Venus retrograde we had, when me and April did our Venus retro live. Remember, April, I had hair extensions done, and I was like, the hair was fucking trash. Remember?
Oh, kind of.
I tried a new type of hair extension.
Oh, remember, yeah.
It went terribly wrong. Like, it ended up being a waste of money. And I was like, wow, I should have known not to try anything new with my hair. And you guys can see my hair is nappy right now, but this is my natural hair. So my sisters, we've like been playing in our hair and playing with our fingernails and shit since we've been quarantining. And my sisters dyed my hair that because the dye really didn't hit. Like it didn't. It was supposed to be like a honey brown, and it's like it didn't take well at all.
Oh.
So here I go with like, there's nothing I can do to it now. Either I'm gonna have to put some more brown in it or try to put it back black. But I'm like, I ain't been combing my hair. Y'all can see I ain't combed this shit today. It ain't been flat on weeks. It's like, why the fuck I'm gonna comb my hair? I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yo, I tried this eye cream. I bought an eye cream. And I never tried this brand before or anything. And yeah, I thought it was supposed to work on like, cause I have hereditary bags under my eyes that people give me shit about every day of my life. So I'm like, let me see if an eye cream works so people will stop telling me I look tired every day and being assholes to me. So that's why I have sunglasses on too. I tried this eye cream. It irritated my eyes. And it did nothing for like what it said it was going to do.
God.
So I'm not just trying to be, mysterious Scorpio or cute like solar return Leo moon over here. The eye cream, it didn't work for me. And it's irritating my eyes. And my eyes are even puffier than usual. So thank you, Venus retrograde. I should have known, right?
No new shit. No new shit. But yeah, so many of my friends have been like, they're hitting me up to be like, oh, you never guess what? I found out he's been cheating on me. I found out that he's got a secret girlfriend. I never knew nothing about them. I'm like, fuck you, man. Already? Started already. And my ex, he's a Sag rising, Aries sun. He's been blowing up my phone and he's married. I'm like, he's like, oh, I miss you. I was like, why not? Aren't you with your fucking husband? In your house together in love.
Oh my God.
Yes, this is like Venus retrograde fuckery, though.
Yeah, unfortunately, with it being in Gemini, and then also making a square aspect to Neptune. Neptune knows no boundaries. Gemini, Venus and Gemini can be all about just fun and games, and it's duality. So Venus and Gemini is a notorious Venus for having a double life or getting bored with one person. So even if they don't step out and like fully cheat, they may still, I still have to entertain other people in my mind. So they'll still like chat with somebody else or flirt with somebody. And it might be like harmless, but it's still stepping outside of the boundaries of your relationship. So a lot of that could be going on, unfortunately, during this transit. Even more than usual, and especially all through May, it's like super strong. I think I wrote the dates of like May 4th and May, I think the 20th is when that square is exact. So around those days, you guys, like, if you're with somebody and you're committed, you need keep one big Uncle Ruckus eyeball on them, okay? Like, seriously.
I don't know about in America, but in the UK, a few of my friends have had their weddings cancelled. So
they had their what cancelled?
Their weddings cancelled because obviously lockdown, you can't get married. But I think it's a blessing in disguise, really, because like getting married in retrograde.
Yes.
I think it's a blessing,
Good
So I didn't say that to my friends. Like, oh my God, it's terrible. Like, the universe is saving your ass.
Yeah, good point, Jack. Very good. I thought about that too. All the weddings that have been canceled due to coronavirus.
Is that same with you? Yeah, like you are.
Yeah. So many. Like a lot of celebrities have even canceled their weddings. But I would not want to get married during a Venus retrograde.
Exactly.
Blessing in disguise, for
sure.
sure.
But the universe is saving your ass. Then go with it.
Yeah. Definitely.
So,
I agree.
So next on the agenda, we were going to talk about any memorable stories from the last Venus retrograde, and App so graciously put the dates of the last Venus retrograde. October 5th of 2018 to November 16th of 2018. But she was in her shadow period a few weeks before and a few weeks after those dates. So let's just say like mid-September through up until like December of 2018. So I'm gonna share. I am going to, in my best Scorpio way, without revealing too much information, or you know the.
You go, girl.
Yes,
You do this.
I'm gonna let you guys know what happened to me that was significant during that time. And my example doesn't mean that everybody is going to experience exactly like my horror stories. But there's just a lot of things that came up that were, you know, beneficial, but also like detrimental or just not that great of an experience. So Venus went retrograde in 2018 at 10 degrees of Scorpio. So my rising sign is Scorpio. The degree of my rising is 10 degrees of Scorpio. So your rising, it rules your appearance. It rules like a huge part of you, how you present yourself, how people see you, just like how you approach life, you know. So Venus ruling like beauty, vanity, femininity, and I am a feminine being, with a lot of masculine in the mix too, but still, you know, I have a lot of feminine things about me. My femininity, I was questioning it a lot. Not saying I was questioning it a lot because I was just like, I did not feel attractive. I did not feel desired. I was in a relationship that I had been in for 8 years that was long expired. And it was, I always called him my husband. We called each other husband and wife from the beginning. We were like married, you know what I'm saying? Without the paper, which people will give us a side eye about. But that was a fucking marriage. We combined finances and resources. And finances, which Venus rules, was a huge problem in that relationship. I would say it's what really like made shit hit the fan and us call it quits is finances. Okay. And so when Venus stepped into Scorpio, where it was going to go retrograde during that time, as soon as it stepped into Scorpio, the day that it stepped into Scorpio, I started a job. I was still doing my astrology business, and my ex was working, but we were not able to come together on finances, and we were in a lot of financial trouble, huge financial debt. We were, honestly, I'm just going to be transparent and say we were like on the verge of eviction, on the verge of repossessions. It was major, and I was still trying to do my thing, like giving readings and stuff, and he refused to do anything to help our financial situation. He had a job, and he had a lot of time off from that job, and he could have stepped up to the plate as a man and said, you know what, I'm going to create a side hustle, or I'm going to get a second job. I'm going to do whatever it takes. He did not want to do that. He felt like that wasn't his job or something. So I had to step into my masculine swag and say, you know what, I'm a hustler. I've always been a hustler and a hard worker. Let me just get a job and still try to run my business. And he still wanted me to be feminine Venus Susie homemaker at the same time. So I had this big battle within myself during last Venus retrograde because it was right on me of like masculine and feminine roles, and where do I stand? Where do I belong? I want to just be feminine, and I want love and attention from my partner, and he's not giving me that. And I want him to stand up as a masculine being and say, yo, I'm gonna take charge of our financial situation and make it better. He wasn't doing that. So I'm like, I guess I have to be masculine, which is action oriented. So I got a job, and I didn't really know exactly what the job entailed. It just worked for us with our schedule and the pay. And I just said, okay, I'm grabbing this job. It ended up having crazy hours in the middle of the night, overnight. It ended up being really like kind of hard labor, masculine work. So here I am. I'm like thinking about my femininity and my role as a woman in life, and I'm doing all this masculine work, and I've got this man present that ain't doing masculine things. It was just so like, I had this crazy inner battle that was going on all the time. I was so stressed out. I didn't feel attractive either because he didn't pay attention to me. And you know, Venus and Scorpios love to be desired. We love that feeling of being desired by someone, like, you know, like we love that. He didn't give me that. So I'm like, why am I even with you? I don't feel protected. I don't feel desired, So Venus and Scorpio brought those scorpionic things out. So anyway, so then I was working at this job and I was like, yo, you know what? I'm just going to work this job, stack my money, get us out of the situation, do what I have to do. And, we might have to call it quits. Well, 2 weeks after I started working there, yep, shit hit the fan. We called it quits. And I was like, okay, but we were still in a situation to where we had to live out the rest of our lease where we were at. So I had to be broken up with him and still living with him. And I was done. Once a Taurus or a Scorpio is done, we're fucking done. We don't do wishy-washy. But he's Venus and Gemini. Hey, can we work things out? Didn't we say we were done? What's done is done. No means no. Okay, fine. I hate you. I hate you anyway. Okay, whatever. And then the next day, so can we work it out? I'm like, yo. So Venus retrograde was doing that for him, but I still stayed solid in my decision. Like, no. All right, I'm going to work. I'm going to stack my money and get the fuck out. So, and it just brought up a lot of conversation during that time too. He was like, why? Why don't you want to work it out with me after we called it quits? And I had to explain to him the whole thing about masculinity and femininity and how I want to be a feminine being, not saying I want to kick my feet up with my toenails painted and not do shit while a man takes care of me. I don't have it in me to be like that. I still have to work and be productive, but come on, man, play your part. Take some of the stress off of me so I can feel free to be Susie Homemaker like you want me to be. I can't play both roles. It's exhausting me to the fucking core of my soul, So I tried to explain that to him and he still didn't get it. So I'm like, still, yo, what's done is done. And it just so happened that during that time, I was working at this job and how can I still in a Scorpio private way tell this story that Appollonia knows so well as one of my besties. I worked around this dude and it turns out he has Venus in Scorpio and his Venus was 10 degrees of Scorpio. Once I pulled his chart, his Venus was 10 degrees of Scorpio. And the reason why I had to pull his chart is because we started hanging around each other and kind of vibing. But the vibe was just so crazy, like in a good way. And I just was like, yo, just being around this man, I felt desired and I felt protected. So I'm like, where's your Scorpio at, And sure enough, he has a lot of scorpionic energy in his chart. And I was just like, wow. Like, where have you been all my life? And also during that time, it was my nodal return. So for those who don't know, that's the North and South nodes. They rule your karma of your past life and your current life. And the day that I started that job, remember I said Venus just stepped into Scorpio the day I started that job. And it was my exact nodal return. So he doesn't really mess with this stuff like we do. He doesn't really understand all this stuff, but he's definitely someone from a past life. We had that type of connection and that type of a vibe. And yeah, just being around him, I felt like, yo, like this is the type of man that would protect his woman fiercely. I could just feel it from him. And even just him looking at me, I was just like, woo, you know what I'm saying? Like I felt like desired and I hadn't felt that in years. So that just helped me even more with my decision to stick with leaving my long-term relationship behind. And it turns out that dude, I think we lost app, or maybe she put it on something, I don't know. But it turns out that the guy, he was also in a long-term unhappy relationship at the time. So we were vibing heavy, but we didn't pursue anything. But when I tell you guys, like, that transit, it brought out like things within both of us with like how we with our appearance and confidence and attraction and stuff that I think helped both of us out. And I don't know if he ever watches my shit or listens, but To this day, I will still say he's one of the most beautiful men I ever encountered in my life, and made me feel, just by being around him and talking to him, like, whoa, you know, like that relationship, I mean, not relationship, but that meeting was definitely fated and meant to be. And check this out. I got fired from that job the day that Venus was retrograde at 0 degrees of Scorpio. So I started it at 0 degrees Scorpio and ended it at 0 degrees of Scorpio. And then I wasn't able to see old dude anymore after that. And it just broke my heart into pieces, you know, because I was like, yo, I felt like this is like the ideal man. And of course I would meet him during Venus retrograde, and then this period would end, you know. So but yeah, it really brought up a lot of things about femininity, my looks, my relationship, money, you know, all of that. So if Venus is retrograde in your sign, especially, so for Venus in Gemini people, or Gemini ascendant people, it may bring up, you know, all of those things, everything that Venus rules for you. That could be relationships. And like I said, don't let my story make everybody think that you're gonna go through a breakup, you know, and it can close one door and open another. It definitely did both for me. I'm still in contact with Mr. Venus in Scorpio, wink wink. he's still dope AF and just absolutely beautiful. But you know, so it doesn't mean, oh, it's an ending and then that's it. Nah, you know, you can still, maybe things aren't just really happening during that time, but maybe you meet people, and Venus retrograde can like delay things or slow things down or give people a break from each other even. But it doesn't mean everything is completely just going to end and go to shit for good. You know what I'm saying? There's just a lot of things that can come up, lessons learned and everything. So yeah, the last Venus retrograde, boy, was it heavy for me. But see that it was in my sign and at the degree of my rising. So it was super intense. So if you have Venus and Gemini around, or Gemini rising, especially Gemini sun around like 21 degrees, this will definitely be a Venus retrograde to remember. And I'm not trying to fear monger and say you have to fear losing a relationship or losing your sense of self or feeling ugly. You know, you may go through moments of stuff like that, but it's not gonna make everything it doesn't make everything permanent, you know. Just go with it. Gemini's usually good with going with the flow and like, whatever, what's new, what's next, what else are you throwing at me, come on, let's see what's going on, I'm bored. So yeah, that's what happened to me.
Do you find, like, I noticed because I had a South Node conjunct my Venus, do you find that when you meet people who have, like, South Node or North Node as karmic synastry, that even though they have a massive impact on your life path, they're not necessarily going to be in your life forever?
I've had, my North Node is in Leo, and I've only been involved with 2 Leo men ever. One of them, he did have a big impact on my life as far as introducing me to like things in the arts that I am like heavily interested in and used to be heavily involved with at that time. He had a really big impact. We had like an on and off, like friends, but more than friends, and then only friends and more than friends, like off and on, and then enemies, and then friends again, and then we don't fuck with each other, and then for like 10 years. Like, you know, for a long time, since we were like teenagers. And then I had another Leo, his North Node, my North Node's in Leo, and he's a Leo stellium, and we're still, and he's now in spirit. He's been passed away for over a decade. And yes, he impacted my life greatly. And his North and South nodes were in Taurus and Scorpio, like on all my stuff too. Yeah. So we are still connected in spirit. I still visit his resting place all the time. He shows up on his birthday somehow every year, and he's what I feel like he's almost like a spirit guide to me sometimes, you know. He impacted me greatly. I do base a lot of things on relationships, on that relationship I had with him. It was an open relationship. So he was never like, we never had anything solid, and I knew from the beginning we would not have anything solid. I just had that feeling. Even though we were kids, I didn't know about astrology to this degree back then, but something told me he's not going to be my boyfriend, but like, let's just enjoy each other. You know what I'm saying? So I base a lot of things on my relationship with him.
Yeah, I think like those South Node and North Node connections are really important. But a lot of people are like, oh, is this guy my soulmate, or this person my soulmate? It's like, they might be, but it doesn't mean they're going to be in your life forever. Well, they might make an impact and change the course of your life path, but they're definitely here to teach you something and grow from it. But it doesn't necessarily mean your soulmate. And I believe you have more than one. It's not necessarily your partner. It can be your friend or someone important to you.
Yeah.
These people are here, come to teach you something, help you grow. So, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. We will have to do a whole other video and discussion on that, because you guys know.
Tangent. I love like karmic relationships.
The nodes and the karma. Yes.
I know Jack has stories for days because his Venus is with the South Node. I have stories for days too, because I don't know why the universe likes to ruin my life by sending me these.
They do ruin your life, but you have fun doing it.
Oh yeah.
My kid's dad was South Node shit, so yeah, it's
that past life karma, isn't it?
That past life karma, and you are so aware, like how when April mentioned when she met Mr. Scorpio at her job. I remember the day that April saw this man, and she just cosmically knew, like, your soul is so intelligent, like more intelligent than this flesh suit that we wear as an avatar. So your soul connection with people is why you can love a person on sight, why you can meet somebody for 5 minutes and fucking hate them, because your soul remembers their soul. So when you have these karmic situations and you innately feel it, it's like, wow, do I want to walk down that path? Don't die? Because the intensity, the intensity and the curiosity is strong. And I wanted to mention too, with April's divorce, again, this was Venus retrograde in Scorpio, and April being a Scorpio rising, Venus rules her 7th house of long-term relationships and marriages, and 12th house of deep psychological revelations. So if you're a Scorpio rising, Venus rules your 7th and your 12th as well, and we'll talk about that more later. But not only do you want to look at what house Venus is transiting for you, the retrograde is transiting, but you also want to look at what houses Venus rules for you. So the Venus retrograde on April's ascendant, which is the ruler of her 7th house of marriage, her marriage crumbled. Like, instantaneously, it went away. She literally said they were talking about breaking up, and 2 weeks later, they was broke the fuck up. And I remember the day that April called me, like, yeah, it's over. We're done. I'm over it. Like, what the fuck? You guys were talking about what are we going to do about this relationship? It's done. Like, as one of her besties, I was stunned. Like, are you sure? Is this what's happening? But then that's her 7th house. So if you look at her 12th house, that was all of these deep psychological wounds with her femininity. Whatever your sexuality is, one of the partners will be more feminine and one will be more masculine, no matter what type of relationship you're in. So April, being the feminine source of her marriage, needed her man to step up to the plate and be a fucking man. And he pushed back and said, no, I'm not doing that. You do it. So Venus was triggering people to think, what do you want as a woman? What do you mean? You want to be in a relationship with another feminine person like yourself? Or do you want to deal with, oh, look at Jack's baby? Or do you want to deal with someone who is masculine, which is what you need? So she actually stepped up to the plate and said, okay, I'm going to try to work this shit out. And since my man can't be a man for me, let me strap on my invisible nutsack and try to be a man for myself. And that's, Venus was like, no, that's not what you're doing. Either you're going to be in a relationship with a man, or you're going to move the fuck around and go and find yourself the man that you want. So she made the decision, and Venus got all up in her face, i.e. on her ascendant, and really made her take an executive look at herself and her life as a woman, and really come to terms with what it is that she wanted, and put her in a position where she worked around all of these masculine guys. Like, she was in a position where she worked around all these masculine guys. And let me just tell y'all, Mr. Scorpio is fine. He's fine. So, not only was he fine, but he was masculine. And that was what she needed at the moment, down to his Scorpio aspects or placements matching hers. So, and kudos to you, April. You did such a good job, honey, sharing, because I know how you feel about that.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Venus and Scorpio is bomb, man. Like, God. But no, but it's true. It was like a back and forth all the time. It's like I go home, I'm sore from doing masculine type of work, and I would think in my head, if I had a man, he would be like, oh, hey, babe, you've been doing all this masculine work. Let me balance things out by giving you a massage or something, running you a bath to soak in, making things easier on you, you know, because you have to have that yin and yang. But nah, he would just kick it and not pay attention to me at all. I wouldn't let myself cry while I was awake. So I would wake up like crying in my sleep because of being in physical pain and because of all the other stuff going on. And he would wake up next to me like, are you okay? Like, and I'm just like, yeah, like I'm crying. That was like my soul probably crying, you know, but my femininity crying, wanting to come through. But I had to like be so masculine. And then, you know, so dealing with that. And then I go to work and I'm around this dude and like, he just chucking things, you know, with his muscles and looking good and like, no, I got this. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And then, you know, just a lot of things he would say that made me feel like this fool would protect. He would protect like in more ways than one, not just like this, but in here I could feel that he was protective. And then the thing I had at home was just like on the video game, not paying attention to me at all. And I was just like, okay, you know what? I see what my femininity really needs, and it's not what's here. It's over there. So it really put things into perspective. And yeah, App even said like she was shocked when I was very nonchalant about the divorce. Because Taurus and Scorpio energies can have a tendency to hold on to especially long-term relationships, even if they're long overdue for, you know, to be a cutoff date. And I was just like, yeah, it's done. It's done. And she's like, how are you not just like crying and, you know, breaking down? I'm like, nah, it's done, man. Because I saw that there were, even if it wasn't Mr. Venus and Scorpio, that there were other masculine beings out there that would help me to feel more feminine, because they would step into certain roles where, you know, where my Venus needed. And I was like, okay, so this isn't the end all be all that I have at home. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
So do you guys have any stories about Venus, the last Venus retrograde in Scorpio and Libra in 2018?
Now, I, at the time, girl, you know I was going through so much too, but Scorpio and Libra is my 8th house. I think I was going through a lot of money shit at that time, April, if you remember.
Yeah.
I was going through a lot of money shit. And at that time, I was still like trying to stack my paper to move to Cali. And it was a lot of 8th house financial shit. But I don't remember any. Oh, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's when I had like heavy ass car repairs. Like, I had to come up with hella money to like fix my car at the time, because the retrograde entered my 9th house, and like Venus entered my 9th and it retrograded back into my 8th, and 9th house can rule cars and transportation and shit. But I don't remember anything in particular pertaining to love and romance at that particular retrograde. But when we start talking about the previous retrograde, I can go in there. But I don't remember anything too heavy at that time. But I do remember very, very distinctively that me and April being as close as we are, I was heavily involved in what was going on with her at that time. So it's like a chapter in my life when she was going through that divorce, down to like them splitting living arrangements and everything. So that was heavy for both of us. Me and April, our moons conjunct. Mm-hmm. So we're like telepathically, empathically connected. So when she's going through something heavy, like I can feel that shit like it's happening to me, and I'm sure she has the same thing for me.
Yeah.
So I remember this like it was yesterday when all of this happened.
Well, the 8th house is other people, I suppose, isn't it? So you kind of live through with her.
Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah, so for the last one, it was, this went through my 2nd house and my 1st house. So I've got Jupiter in the 2nd house, nicely. So when Venus was going through that, I was making hella money. So I was doing really good. And then soon, but also, when it was getting retrograde, I was spending it all as well. So all that money that I made, a lot of money, but I spent it too, and I can't even remember what on. Wow. So I think I was just having a really good time spending it. So that was 2018. But then it also went back into my 1st house, which is the physical body. Yeah. And also, so Scorpio was my 2nd house. And also, traditionally, the 8th house, which is ruled by my Venus anyway, and is ruled by Scorpio. And I always link Scorpio with surgery, hospitals, procedures and such. So when it retrograded back into my 1st house, I'm a Libra rising. I like to be beautiful. I like to look after myself, and my looks are really important to Libras. How we look is really important to them. And so when it retrograded back into my 1st, I had to go back into hospital to have like a procedure done on my physical body, which had gone wrong from surgery from ages ago, from like years ago. And it had a massive effect on my confidence, my love life, my sex life, because I didn't want to see anybody. My confidence was shattered and stuff. And it was really, so I had to go back into hospital, whatever. So that was quite a big effect in the 1st house. But then when I actually had my surgery, rescheduled, because I had to have it done twice to rectify what happened. Because cosmetic procedures, are retrograde or whatever. So the day that my surgery was finally corrected was the day of my Venus return. And you can't even make this shit up, literally. So I had this done, the bandages came off, and I had this moment, and it was really weird. So I said from October through to January, I wasn't dating, having sex, whatever. because I just couldn't, because to me it was really important, even though I know there's depth and whatever, but I still need that physical, because it's Libra shit. And so when I had that Venus return in the Jan and in the February, I kind of almost reborn again, because Libra was ruled by Venus. So I had this new physical body, I felt amazing in myself again. And during that time between October and January, because I wasn't having these like frivolous relationships and like one night stands and stuff, I had to do like a lot of inner work on myself. So this internalized Venus, which I have in my natal chart, I was doing all this work on what it is that I actually want in a relationship, and why, instead of just having sex with whoever, I was kind of going in on deep on what it is that I actually really wanted in that time. So yeah, it was quite deep. I thought having Venus in my first house would be amazing, because it retrogrades, it kind of like took another entity. So it's quite deep, really. Yeah. But let me tell you, the Venus return was good. The Venus return was amazing.
Oh, Venus.
Because they say, don't they? They say whatever you do around your Venus return will set you up for the next year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a really good time.
Dope.
Yeah. April, I can't see you.
Oh, I turned my camera off just for a little bit, you guys. But okay. So
that's amazing, Jack. Your stories about your surgery and how it going through your first house and you having issues with your looks, your self-esteem, all of that stuff, like that.
Because Libra's about beauty. We need to look good. We want other people to think we look good too. It's important to us.
Yeah.
And it was like, it really took a massive effect on because I believe so much in like positive thinking and affirmations. And when this happened, I had to really dig deep to believe even more so in that stuff, because I think we can all be positive and everything's been amazing. Yeah. But actually, when the shit's going down, that's the best time to practice what you preach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting. Oh my gosh. Now, the procedure that you had initially, did you have it done during Venus in retrograde, or did it?
I need to check that. But maybe. But I researched that if you're born with Venus retrograde, and this is not everybody, you can have problems with surgery anyway. So it's like indicative of that aspect.
And probably issues with cosmetic surgeries, you have to
100%
trigger a good time to have it. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. But all along, when the letter came through with the date and I knew it was my return, I was like, I can't believe the universe is doing this to me. So I knew that even though I was going through a shit time, I was doing a lot of self-work on myself. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I had, since then, I had like I still fucked around, I'm Libra, but I've had better relationships,
Yeah. That's good. That's really good to hear, and I'm glad that it's fixed now.
But I wasn't gonna share. Then April shared. It's like,
it's these real life examples, guys. Examples.
Yeah, that's really personal to me. So
yeah, that helps people to learn.
Yeah,
so
I know.
It's us being transparent, because I cannot stand when I stumble upon woo-woo astrologers that just give you the...
I know. Visualize, manifest everything.
Yeah.
Which is great. I think you should do that, but there's two sides to every transit.
See, and that's why you guys are that's why you guys are my astro homies, and I brought you on. Hold on. Where am I? Okay. That's why I brought you guys on, because we always have our discussions about how astrology affects, how it affects real life. And a lot of times I catch myself thinking like, oh, am I, invoking fear amongst people or being too negative? But then in the end, I'm like, F it. This is what really, really happens. And it doesn't mean I'm not some guru, and I'm not spreading a message to the whole wide world that everything I say is going to happen. Even if it's something negative, is going to happen to you. But it's just like a real life example that isn't just like, float through the universe
Yep.
and open the lotus, and you will have magic come to you with every
But you
fucking
have to-
transit. It's not always like that. You will have car problems, relationship problems. You will
mean, you
feel
have to-
ugly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to look at your own. You have to look at your own chart there. So.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna add that, like, April, you're a Scorpio rising. So if there are any Scorpio risings listening to this or in the comments, no matter what, you being a Scorpio rising, Venus rules your 7th and your 12th. So during that retrograde, something triggered that 7th and that 12th house. It didn't have to play out as a breakup. Maybe you had a huge ass argument with your spouse and you made they ass sleep on the couch for the rest of the retrograde. But something around that energy happened. Or maybe you were dealing with psychological shit pertaining to your marriage. It doesn't have to mean that you're going to go through it exactly how April went through it, but it's in the same stage. So it's like April's story is playing out on the same set. Like, think of a Hollywood set, and they record numerous shows on that one fucking set. So you being a Scorpio rising, all of the Scorpio risings get that same set, but your scenario or your story is playing out different with that same background. So
Word.
it's that you want to look at to see how it's going to play out for you. So same, if how Jack just explained his story, him being a Libra rising, if you were a Libra rising, you were dealing with issues pertaining to your looks or your identity. Maybe it wasn't cosmetic surgery, but it could have been like you got some bad fucking hair extensions, and now you're all on this side. Like, should I do this?
I thought your hair looks
Looking at my
nice.
hair?
I thought your hair looked really nice. Sorry.
So those type of things, it's something about your physical. If you were a Libra rising, it's something going on with your physical with that retrograde hitting through your first house. So
that transit went through my Saturn, my Pluto, my Mars. So
So that's another thing too. You have to look at what planets Venus is hitting up or flicking on, activating when it's doing this transit as well. So you got to think about that, because if Venus is hitting your Pluto, what does Pluto rule? Now it's kicking up shit in that area. So
I had transformation through that.
Yeah, it's easy once you know the formula. So us giving you guys examples is to teach you the formula of how to analyze it for yourself. So you can kind of know what's coming around the bend, per se.
My 2012 story is a bit more fun anyway.
Yes, let's jump into that. So Venus was retrograde in 2012, in Gemini as well, around the same degrees and everything. So yes, Jack, please share what happened to you.
Oh, you want me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was looking at the dates. I was like, oh my god, and he hit me. So I met this guy. So in my spare time, I have Mars in the first house. I'm very sporty, and so I have some Mars energy. I have so much energy that I need to get rid of. So I do like acrobatics, gymnastics, whatever, pole dancing stuff. So I kickbox as well. So I've been kickboxing for a long time. And one day I walked into. I've gone on a different day. I don't even know why. I've gone on a different day. I walked into the boxing place, and this guy was there. He was fucking beautiful, and he was like slow motion. So he turned around, I turned around, he was like, and he was the last place I think I'd meet somebody, but we had this calm connection. I just knew it straight away. I knew it, and he knew it as well. We didn't say anything because it was like a very masculine environment, and it was not something I want to pick up and do like in a kickboxing class, So I just looked at him, yeah, he's fine, he's gorgeous, like mixed race, tan, tattoos, whatever. Didn't think anything of it, and then I was out on the weekend. I was at a gay club, and he was there, and we ended up hitting it off. We ended up dating, and I was having this amazing time with him, and it materialised that he wasn't like, he didn't label himself as gay, which is fine, but he was leading this double life where he was dating. So he had like a girlfriend or something, I found out. So yeah, I found out he was dating for the yes, but I don't know how he had time to, because like obviously this is 2012, so I was a bit like blinded by the lights by then, and for example, I'd see him on Saturday night. We go clubbing, and then he'd stay at my house, and I'd drive him to church the next day, meet him there. He told me he was going to church, and he wasn't. He was like meeting up with some girl or whatever. And then this Venus retrograde, this is how you spend money. I was always taking us out to like the best restaurants. I was buying him shit. I was paying for everything. I let him drive my car. Like all this mad stuff. I never normally do that.
Wow.
And yeah, so like I was totally like, I didn't like under his spell. But when I looked at our chart, we had like this like South Node energy going on, and also, so like he met my best friend, and she just didn't instantly. She's like, I don't know what it is. I just don't like him. I just thought like she was just being like territorial. And then, because we're both into this past life stuff, and like, so we had like a bit of like past life regression done on the situation. And it turned out that during this past life regression, that the three of us, I was a female in a past life, because in my chart I've got the moon quite close to my South Node, and April pointed out that sometimes it can mean that you are you could have been a female energy in a past life. So in one of my past incarnations, I was actually with him, and I was with my best friend. Like they were both men. And they were fighting for my attention, and my boyfriend at the time had killed my best friend in the past life. He drowned her.
What?
Yes, and like so, every time we were together hanging out, my friend would say, "I feel I can't breathe when I'm near him," and I'm like, "What? That's just crazy." And then it materialised that he'd actually drowned her in the past life because they were fighting for my attention. And then I finally went to his house one night. And I walked into his living room. He had a painting of a woman drowning. How weird is that?
That's crazy.
Oh,
Yo!
It's not like a normal painting, is it? And I was like, well, that's an interesting picture. And he's like, yeah, it was here when I moved in, he said. I didn't buy it, it was just here when I moved in.
Oh my God.
I know! No, I know. So
Mind blown.
I know! So I'm a bit worried about this retrograde now.
Dang.
So yeah, and I thought it was really funny because Gemini rules the hands, and it's boxing and stuff. So that's how I met him, through boxing and shit. But yeah, I still see him every now and again out and about. He can't look at me in the face because I obviously confronted him and found out about this whole other life that he had. He made it like he's some religious sort of like good boy, and I knew he was the worst. He was the worst liar. At least I'd rather someone just be straight with me, because I don't mind having an open relationship. I'm really like, I've got beats in Aquarius, like I'm good, I'm cool. But he was like the worst liar, like, I don't know, I can't believe it.
So question for you, Jack, with this guy. Did he have any Cancer energy?
I'm just trying to think, I'll have to get his chart up now. I'm trying to think, I'm sure he was an Aries sun. I need to get his chart back up again. Okay. But he definitely had some aspects to my 10th house, which is Cancer.
Yeah. Because I was looking at your chart when you were just saying that, and the retrograde of 2012, it started on your North Node in Cancer.
Yeah.
He was definitely a karmic situation. Like you knew this man from a past life, obviously.
Yeah, I think he had either Mars or Jupiter and Capricorn or something like that. And he was conjunct my South Node, and I was like, "Fuck, this was a lesson." Because I always think he's spending so much money, like to pay me to be, because I had been to his house,
Yeah.
That's all about dating, restaurants, going out, being wine and dine. I'm usually used to doing it. People do that for me, and I was doing it to him. Like, I don't think, like it was nothing to me. I'm not normally like that. I don't know. I was under this spell. I was under a
But
spell with it.
the Venus retrograde happened. It retrograded back into your 8th house. And
Yes.
That's the spouse's money. That's other people's money. So,
girl, he had no money. He had no money.
Yeah, but you were the one tricking off because the Venus retrograde happened in your 8th.
Oh my God.
You were shelling out cash on this guy that was just like having a good old fucking time. And then the 8th house is also what's hidden, secrecy. And you mentioned that he was not upfront about his sexuality. So the Venus retrograde in the 8th house is also indicative of you entertaining a man who's on the down low about his sexuality.
Yeah.
So that's very, very telling. And then, like you said, this was not you. You feel like you lost your identity.
I felt like when we were together, we slipped into this past life roles where I'd be like, this submissive for more female almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's what I was in this past life. Because usually I'm very much like, like to wear the trousers, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like to be quite upfront. And I don't know, it was just craziness. So, yeah.
Crazy. That's crazy.
We had good bum ass sex though, so.
So it was well worth the money, huh?
I paid for it. I fucking paid for it, yeah.
Shit. If you gonna pay for it, it better be fucking good.
Yeah, I want my money back.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Crazy. So
at least I'm locked in the house now anyway, so what could possibly happen? What can possibly happen now?
Oh my gosh. So I'll be waiting for the inboxes if you run into one that you want to spend some money on. Well, my retrograde story from 2012, and this is like, I literally discovered or stumbled upon all of this when I was writing the agenda for our live stream. So April was like, hey, make sure you put on the agenda that I want to talk about this being a repeat retrograde from 2012. And I said, okay, yeah, that'll be really good. So I started to do my notes for everything, and I'm looking like, okay, 2012, that was the year that me and my ex-husband's divorce was becoming final. We had separated legally in 2011, and we were going through divorce proceedings. And that's when I decided to move back to Maryland, where my family was, because it was either back to Jersey, where his family was, or go to Maryland, where my family was. And I decided to go back to Maryland, and I have been there like 2 months, almost 3 months, and that's when I met my kid's father. I met him when I moved back there, and we didn't meet during Venus in retrograde, but we were in the midst of our union during Venus in retrograde. So the Venus retrograde for me, it was transiting my 4th house, and in my 4th house I have Chiron natally at I think it's 25 degrees. Yeah, so my Chiron is at 25 degrees of Gemini, and the retrograde happened, I think it was about that same thing. Let me look at my notes here. Yeah, the retrograde happened at 23 degrees of Gemini, so it was literally on my Chiron in the 4th house. So here I go dating my kid's dad for this 2 or 3 months that we've been dating, from like February to May. and I find out that I'm pregnant. So I am literally 3 months into a relationship with a guy that I really don't know like that. We're just kind of fucking around. I mean, at this point in my mind, he's alright, but he ain't all that. You know, I'm just like dilly-dallying with him. And voila, I end up pregnant. And I found out that I was pregnant during the Venus retrograde in my fourth house. As you guys know, fourth house can rule children or children around you, just like your fifth. But it was just ridiculous that the Venus retrograde was in my fourth house, squaring my moon. And your moon can rule pregnancies, maternal energy, nurturing, all that stuff. So the Venus retrograde squaring my moon, and I find out that I'm pregnant by this guy that I'm really not fucking with. And of course, I was younger at that time. Most people would say like, oh, you really not fucking with him like that? How did you end up pregnant? Well, bitch, shit happens. Life happens. You live life and it happens. And me being younger, dumber, not as mature as I am today, I was with my ex-husband for 7 years and we never got pregnant. My ex-husband couldn't have children. We ended up finding that out later on at the end of our relationship. But so me at the time thinking, okay, I was with a man for 7 years. I never got pregnant. I'm sure I won't get pregnant this time. But no, when you are dating a man who his energy falls in your fifth house, you can definitely get pregnant.
Your fifth house is children, isn't it?
I'm sorry, his moon. His moon was in my fifth house. His Cancer moon falls in my fifth. So he was able to easily knock me up all the time. So,
yeah, Cancer moon's really fertile, isn't it?
Yeah. And so during that Venus retrograde was when I was realizing, like, I'm thinking about, breaking up with him. I'm really not fucking with this Cancer moon mood swings. He's always moody. That Virgo stellium makes him, like, Virgos can be really nice assholes. And that's what he was when we were dating. He was a very nice, quaint asshole. And so I'm digging, doing my research, and I literally go into one of my old email accounts. And I said, well, during that time when me and him was dating, he's been in IT since I met him. And one of his jobs, he would email me all day at work because he couldn't necessarily deal with his phone with the type of work he was doing. So I pulled up emails from 2012 when this retrograde was happening. And it's literally me and him going back and forth about this fucking breakup. And I don't think this is working out. We should just kind of call it quits. We're obviously not that compatible. And then boom, I found out I'm pregnant. And it's like, oh my God, what do I do? Do I, keep the baby? Do I deal with this guy? And, this was my first pregnancy ever. So I wasn't going to have an abortion. This was the first time I was ever pregnant in my life. So I couldn't make a decision and just say, no, I'm not keeping it. So it was like, wow, do I deal with this guy? Do I not? It was just so much turmoil going on at that time energetically for me. And it was a lot because, again, I was still finalizing my divorce with my ex-husband. He was still begging me to come back. I had a lot of guilty feelings with getting pregnant so easily with the guy that I just met. And I was with my ex-husband for 7 years and we didn't get pregnant. And it was times when I wanted to give my husband a child and I couldn't. So I felt guilty about that. Like, this should be my husband's baby. even though me and him were splitting and had all these fucking issues. It was just so chaotic. It was so chaotic. And when you think about me being an Aquarius rising, Venus rules my fourth house of family, children, home life, all of that stuff. And it also rules the energy of dealing with wanting to become one with something other than myself, with that square to my moon. It was just so intense. And when April said to talk about that, and I had to come to terms with everything that was happening in 2012. Like 2012 was a life-changing year for me. So to end the story, or to bring it to a close, I of course ended up trying to make it work with my children's father. But that particular pregnancy is the one that ended in stillbirth for me. And I've talked about this story before. I was 22 weeks, and I had to deliver a dead baby. So that was really traumatic, but it opened up so many spiritual experiences for me as well. We named the baby. I had the baby cremated, things of that nature. But the pregnancy in itself was very tumultuous. I was always sick. I vomited constantly. I really couldn't keep any food down. The doctors were upset that I was losing weight as opposed to gaining weight. But I couldn't keep any food down. And then I was spotting blood the entire pregnancy, which the doctors were not okay with that, because they were saying that was a sign of the placenta being weak. But I wasn't so severe that they wanted to put me on bed rest or anything throughout the pregnancy. So it was a lot. It was so much going on. So even after the Venus retrograde dissipated, shit was still rocky and annoying. So yeah, that was my Venus retrograde in Gemini 2012. So I'm hoping that it's not as crazy this time. I ain't getting no keen to get pregnant by it. So,
yeah.
I doubt it'll be that, but who knows? But I'm hoping that it's gonna be like nothing crazy with my kids, because it's fourth house shit. I hope it's no family drama or anything like that. Now I am getting ready to move into a new place, so I'm hoping that I don't get into the place and not like it, because I think the retrograde, we're moving into the place during shadow period. So I'm hoping that it's not like, and I can't go back on it. I can't go back on it already. So it's like I'm kind of screwed. I have to move in. So I'm hoping that I like the new apartment and everything like that. But yeah, so that's my Venus in retrograde from Gemini. So to the audience, you guys go back to the dates of let me repeat the dates. You guys go back to the dates of May 15th, 2012 through June 27th, 2012, and try to recall what was happening in your life at that time from a Venusian perspective. And then try to keep some notes of what's going to happen this time and compare the details of each. So I'm hoping, but at the same time, I wanted to add too, I was going through a lot of financial chaos and bullshit too, because Saturn was transiting my 8th house during this particular retrograde. So Saturn transiting your 8th is definitely a divorce transit, which I was going through. My ex-husband was taking everything from me, everything. He was like, oh, well, if you come home, you can have all your stuff back. If you don't want to be with me, give me all my shit back. and that's the spouse's money, eighth house. And Saturn was taking everything from me that I had gained through him. So I was going through a lot at that time. So my transits aren't as heavy this time as they were back then. So I'm hoping it'll be a little lightweight on scale, because you have to also keep that in perspective that if you're going through really shitty transits, a retrograde can kind of be the straw that breaks the camel's back. But yeah, keep that in mind. So that's my ridiculous, awful story.
Dang.
I feel like we've all shared so much today.
Yeah. It was a tough one, but you know, what doesn't kill us make us stronger, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Most def.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and of course, like, that story still, you know, it gets to me, even though I've heard it as one of your besties and already known about this stuff. It's still like, dang.
Yeah. Definitely, for sure. But I'm hoping for the best this time around, because I don't want any drama like that.
Yeah.
Venus, don't bother me too bad.
Yeah.
So,
everybody put a Venus, do some offerings. If you have an altar or a spiritual system, do some offerings to Venus. Do you a yellow candle for Venusian things, yellow or gold, and you can write or carve messages or etch messages into the candle, like, Venus, please be with me during the retrograde. Bring some candy, some flowers, all Venusian things as offerings to Venus, as a remedy that she doesn't like spit in your face too bad.
oh yeah. Yeah, and I was just typing in the chat certain signs, you know, like based on your story, because you had a pregnancy and Venus was in your 4th house in your Placidus chart, but in whole sign, if you're an Aquarius rising, Gemini is your 5th house of children and pregnancy. So Venus retrograde there. So I was just, you know, telling the ladies, hey, if you're listening to this story, be very cautious and be careful with your feminine health and who you're intimate with. If you know, if Gemini is your 5th house, or be with your feminine health. If your Cap Gemini is your 6th house of health. You're a Scorpio or Scorpio rising. Yeah, you're a Scorpio. You're Scorpio rising. Gemini is in your 8th house of intimacy, which can mean, you know, getting down with somebody. If you're out there dating around and you're a Scorpio rising, and you know you're doing your thing or whatever during this Venus and Gemini retrograde, be extra careful of who you are allowing into your body, because, and to me, nothing says catching a little something like Venus retrograde in Gemini in your 8th house, and then square Neptune.
That was very responsible.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes, Neptune rules diseases and bacteria and invasive creatures, you know, so, and then Gemini is like, wee, everything's a free-for-all. So, come on, like, my fellow Scorpio rising, yo, I already told, yes, I already told App, like,
don't have sex.
My chastity belt is locked, my G's, like, seriously.
You know, I always say that about my Scorpio homies. If you have Scorpio friends in your life, they are the ghetto gynecologists. If you got something going on down there, call your Scorpio home girl. They gonna tell you what.
That's the area. That's the area.
Yeah, they gonna tell you what to do to get your shit right. Like, girl, you gotta go to the store, get this. Oh, this is that. Like, my Scorpio friends, they all have diagnosed any coochie issues I have had. They have like I remember a few months back, I was having I had 2 recurring UTIs, And I was like, oh my God, like the UTI is gone, but I'm still feeling the pressure. And my Scorpio homegirl, she was like, girl, whenever you get a UTI back to back, your urethra gets weak. It gets weakened. So you have to strengthen it back. So she's like, you got to go to Whole Foods and you got to get the raw cranberry juice with no sugar in it.
Yes.
And she's like, then you got to get these urinary tract vitamins. Take those. She's like, you got to take like 3 or 4 of them for like 3 days. You'll be good to go.
She's right though.
All of that shit to the T. It was done. So Scorpios are about Scorpios and Virgo energy both rule healing, but Scorpio is natural, backwoods Betty. I got something in the cabinet to help heal you. But Virgo is go to the doctor and get healed. So yeah, I agree with April. Make sure you don't get the itchy down there. Make sure you don't get the burning down there. Be careful in these streets, you know. Keep your condoms in your purse or wherever.
You've been warned.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, please.
Especially if you're dealing with them air signs.
Oh. And fire. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Air and fire. Yes. I love you guys, but I just keeping it all the way real. Okay. Like I said, like this isn't Gemini. Gemini's an air sign. Air signs, you know, you guys like to, humans are toys, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like what you were saying with the Venus Neptune, people will lie to you.
Yes.
Yeah. To your face.
Yes. Bold face, motherfucking like just really believing some bullshit story themselves. And even sob stories, especially like getting into the theatrics, because Neptune rules like acting, you know, in movies or whatever. So like, the natural actors can come out and like, you see what had happened, girl, I was gonna tell. Yes, and then they get down on one knee, start begging like Jodeci and everything. You know what I mean? Like, girl, you gotta believe me, baby, come back. Woo, yeah.
You gotta be strong in these times.
Yeah. And you know, Gemini energy rules the dudes that love the fucking fake cry.
Where are the tears though? I don't see no tears.
I've never really dated Geminis on a deeper level.
Oh shit, I have.
All girls who have fucked with Gemini men have had schools of them fake crying, trying to bullshit out of some shit that they didn't did.
Yes, because a lot of Geminis. Yeah, because a lot of Geminis, if they're born with the sun in Gemini, they could have planets in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is the ultimate crybaby. And so that Gemini-Cancer combo is like lethal. Yes, that's a lethal combo for like just flipping the switch from just flipping like, okay, one second they're cool and then the next second, but girl, you don't understand. Like the Cancer energy lets them tears really well up, and then within the flip of a switch that Gemini turns on, they're like, shoop, you know what, I'm good, and you're like, what's real and what's not, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I've been through that. I attract Geminis like bees to honey. Unfortunately, my Scorpio energy gives them the ultimate, the big side eye, like, you are such a dumb ass mother. What are you doing? I see right through you. What's that?
You're sexually attracted to those crazies.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, that's a whole other video. Like, yo, I know. Yeah, well, what attracts me to them is like, I'm attracted to sense of humor. Like you have Gemini in the 8th house, don't you? Yes, so like a sense of humor is like one of my biggest weaknesses, like in turn-ons in a guy. So
they say But in the UK, we say they laugh your pants off or they laugh you into bed.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take that saying. I'll adopt that saying, even though I'm not from the UK. Yeah, it's true. And then I love a man that can joke around with me, play around, have fun, play pranks on each other. That usually, like, you know, gets my little heart, my little Scorpio heart, like, ah! But then they end up being some court jester ass Geminis that are just like bouncing around and their eyes are shifting everywhere. And you know what? That's a whole other video. Anyway, so staying on topic, what everybody wants to know, you guys, and I know we're going on like almost 3 hours here. So, let's give predictions for the signs. Predictions and also advisement for each sign of what Venus retrograde is going to do for them based on where it's transiting in their chart. I really wish we can go into depth of like, you know, what houses Venus rules is for them as well as where it's transiting in their chart. But then this video would be like freaking 6 hours long. But let's at least stick to the basics of, you know, if it's in your first or second, third, whatever house it's in. And but just tell people to keep in mind, Venus rules the signs of Taurus and Libra. So if you know your natal chart, you know what houses Taurus and Libra are in, keep in mind that Venus retrograde can affect those areas of your life as well as wherever Gemini is in your chart that we will give you the tea on, you know. So how about we go in order? Like, how about we like do, you know, each person does one house. How should we do this so it's not like, you know, so we're going with a flow. We have a flow to things.
It's however you guys want to. I jotted down the rulerships if you guys want to throw that out there, just based upon the regular wheel. But people have to determine, due to your degree of your ascendant, your houses might fall a little differently. But yeah, so if you guys want to do one each or however,
I think we should go in an order, and then if anybody else has any input, like just a few words, you know, like after they finish that, talk about that house, like, oh, don't forget about blah blah blah, you know, we could do that too. But let's do an order. So how about we go Appollonia, you can start, and then Jack, and then me. I'll let my guests go first, you know, typical 7th houser. Whatever you like. You guys go ahead.
Glad you asked me to make a decision. Libra shit.
Yeah. So
don't make me choose.
I know. Okay, so App, Jack, and then me. So we'll start with, you know, first house, Appollonia.
Aries. The retrograde is going to be happening in your third. The retrograde is happening in your third. So you guys should definitely pay attention to your communication, of course, with people, obviously. Venus retrograding there, make sure you don't have any little arguments or petty arguments or arguments about money. Don't send anybody the wrong fucking text message. Like we said, don't send anybody the wrong email, because with this Gemini energy, this Venus in retrograde can feel very mercurial. So there can be things, of course, with it happening in the third for you. Pay attention to any car issues, any transportation problems or upheavals, because you're going to rule your mode of transportation as well as 9th house. And then for Gemini, it rules your 7th house. Gemini is, I'm sorry, not Gemini. Venus rules your 7th and your 2nd house. So that can be financial issues with your 2nd house ruler being Venus, and it can be financial issues related to your long-term relationships, partnerships, or contracts. So any agreements that you're in binding agreements could have issues there, or it could be issues with your long-term spouse because Venus rules your 7th. So pay attention to your car, your money, your long-term relationships, and your mouth. And everybody always have to tell y'all about y'all mouth and how y'all have your little cooth when it comes to y'all communication. So tread lightly. And you don't tread lightly on a day-to-day, but tread a little lighter than what you usually do.
So that's for Aries? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're Taurus rising, you can listen to Moon and Sun, I guess, too. I always tend to do. This is your second house, so this is all to do with your money, your finances, your values. So just from my own experience as well, this can affect your spending habits and watch what you're spending. No, it's in the best time to make any big purchases or spend frivolously. So, and also to maybe reevaluate, because retrograde is about reevaluating, going over your finances, which I know is not the most exciting thing to do, but it will set you up in good stead for the future. Also, the second house rules the voice as well, so, and what you put into your mouth. So I know we're on lockdown at the moment and the summer body is out the window, so just be careful with what you're eating, be mindful of what you're putting into your body as well. With that being retrograde, can tend to have, especially tourists anyway, or overindulging and stuff. And also as well, with it being the voice as well, like be mindful of what you say to people, what you're speaking as well. Just be mindful of that. That being retrograde, sometimes messages can be misconstrued as well. Also, this is to do with how you make money. So this could be some reevaluation of where you put your energy as to how it is that you make money and what you actually value and what it is that why you're doing what you're doing to make your money as well. Yeah, if there was add anything to that.
For Taurus, yeah, I will. Personal experience as a Taurus sun sign, yes, be mindful of your purchases and what you do with your money, especially as Venus begins to make an opposition to Neptune, which can rule losses. And losses can mean you lose track of your material items and your money. I shared this on my Venus square Neptune video, that I already dropped my debit card twice in the last week at the grocery store. And there's a couple purchases that I made that I'm just like, now I'm like, they might have been stupid and unnecessary, but money just tends to just dissolve into the thin air when
you guys
Venus
have Uranus as well, don't you? So
yes. Yeah.
When you come in, when you go, when you come in, when you go. So.
Yeah. So this Venus retro, being second house for Taurus, that is your purchases. And I have had some purchases that I'm like, I'm gonna have to return some things and stuff like that. So that right there, watch your finances, pay attention to what you buy, read ingredients, and stuff like that for Tauruses. Most deaf. Okay, I have too many experiences already, and this transit hasn't even gotten hot yet.
I know. We're just getting started.
Word.
I sometimes think the shadow is sometimes worse than the actual retrograde.
What's that?
I said I sometimes think the shadow can sometimes be worse than the actual retrograde itself.
Yeah.
Taste anyway.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and Taurus is, Venus rules your fifth and your first, so you definitely want to pay attention to children, projects, creative projects, your intimate love and romantic unions, fifth house unions. So hopefully it's not anything pertaining to your appearance that's causing fifth house issues. Hopefully your spouse won't say something to hurt your feelings about your appearance or something that they don't like that's causing some fifth house issues or something like that. So be mindful of those fifth house, first house things. I always like people to pay attention to if it's fifth house shit or seventh house shit, pay attention.
Word. Okay. So, Gemini. So if you're a Gemini rising especially, but if you are a Gemini sun or moon, this can apply to as well. If you're a Gemini, Venus is retrograde in your sign. The other houses that Venus rules for you are your 12th house of completing cycles, letting go of things, and also Venus rules Libra, which is your 5th house of dating. So for Geminis, this can affect dating, and also there could be some cycles that need to be completed in your life, or maybe something about the past coming back to you in any type of way. It doesn't just mean relationships. It can also mean, like, the 12th house can be sometimes losses of things, like losses of money, or material things, or just losing your sense of self-value, self-worth. So that can be something that may come up for Geminis too. But in general, this is your first house, the appearance, the body. So Geminis especially, do not, I repeat, do not try anything brand new with your appearance. I know Geminis love to switch it up. They love to chop their hair, especially into little cute little short little cuts and stuff like that. Or, you know, just change up their looks a lot. Change. But this Venus retrograde is not the time. If you can wait to try a new hair color, new hairstyle, haircut, if you can wait to do any cosmetic surgery, any procedures, that includes nowadays people get those little lip injections, and, you know, so they look like this. Okay, this is not the time, Geminis. If you do want to try, even like last night at the store, I was looking at a waxing kit. I've never used one before, and I was like, curious about it, right? Gemini energy is very curious. So Venus and Gemini might have you curious, Gemini, about like some new at-home things that you can do with your body, your appearance, skincare, anything. Do not try anything new during this time, okay? I know it's going to kill you guys to just do the same old, but please stick to your regular schmegular. If you color your hair, do it the same. Go to usually the same person to even cut your hair or whatever. Stick to your go-to stylist, okay? You guys may want to buy new clothes and stuff like that, which is cool, but just keep in mind, you need to be very mindful of the size that you pick, because I already told you, my sister's a Gemini rising. Last night, she handed me some shirt and was like, yo, I didn't even pay attention to the size, and it's not my size. And I just bought it anyway. So pay attention when you're buying clothing and stuff like that. Perfume, that even applies to that. You may think it smells good now, but once this Venus retro is over, you might be like, ew, this doesn't even smell good on me. I had that happen during Venus retrograde in one of my signs one year. I bought this perfume. I kept going back and forth to the store and smelling this perfume. And I'm like, it smells good, but then again, I'm not sure about it. Back and forth, right? And then finally I said, you know what? I'm going to buy it. I bought it when Venus went direct. I've never even worn it since then, and that was a few years ago. Like, it didn't smell good on me. So just stuff like that. Anything, appearance, beauty, body, whatever. You know, just don't do anything new right now. You can wait until like July or August or whatever. You guys can wait, okay? And yes, if you are a feminine being and you're a Gemini, your sense of femininity, you may have some challenges to that, or you may be reviewing and thinking about what it means to you to be feminine, and you know, maybe looking at the masculine presences in your life and like, let me see, are they balancing it out? Are they do we have the yin and yang thing like flowing like it should be? You know what I'm saying? Or is something a little off here? And what could be done about that? So that can mean relationships for Geminis as well. What else? So first house, yeah, the body, the appearance, and how you present yourself. So that can mean not just how you look, but yeah, how you are presenting yourself to people. The first impression people get of you as far as your personality. What are you giving off to others? You may have some reality check that happens that other people bring to you. Like, hey, Gemini, you come off as blah, 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 blah when we approach you. Did you realize that? You may be like, nah, I thought I was bubbly and friendly, but I guess people think I'm a bitch when they look at me. I have resting bitch face. You know, something like that could happen and be brought to your attention. And you're like, what can I do to fix this? Yeah, so that's what I have to say about That's all I have to say about that in my Forrest Gump voice. Does anybody want to add to Gemini?
Yeah, I think like what I was saying before, like you might have issues with confidence, might be like questioning your own self confidence as well. So maybe a good time to do things to boost your own confidence as well. And like go within and seek things to Venus is all about love. It's internalizing, isn't it? So doing things that promote self love within yourself, maybe, and finding a self love within you as opposed to outer factors.
Word.
Yeah. And my apologies. Same thing I said for Taurus previously. I misspoke. I wrote the wrong shit in the wrong spot. So Gemini's 5th house shit, and 12th house shit. So before, when I was speaking about Taurus, I said 5th house stuff, but Venus actually rules your 6th. My apologies. So if you go back or you watch a replay and you hear that, that was indicative for Gemini versus Taurus. So my apologies, guys. But yeah, April was spot on with the Gemini stuff, trying things new when it comes to your appearance. Like I said in the comments, don't try those new lashes. Don't try that new hair. Stick to what you know when it comes to your appearance. Wait until after the retrograde to really try something new. Buyer's remorse is the theme of Venus in retrograde. So, yeah, trying new perfumes and stuff like that, you might not like it again. So, and Geminis and Virgos, we know how much you guys hate to buy something and have buyer's remorse because you like to pinch every single solitary penny. Yeah, Geminis and Virgos are the cheapskates of the zodiac. But so yeah, keep in mind that you don't want to deal with buyer's remorse, so just say no. And yeah, that was pretty good for Gemini horoscopes.
Okay, so Cancer, you've got your favorite sign.
Oh Lord, the cancels. So Cancers, you will be experiencing the Venus retrograde in your 12th. So this could, of course, make you more moody than you naturally are. You can be a little emo about things. With it being a retrograde and it going through a psychological house like the 12th, you can definitely be thinking about past wounds, past fuck shit that people have done to you, past relationships that have hurt you oh so bad. You having the Venus retrograde in Gemini, you could actually want to reach out to people and give them a piece of your mind. You know, like that shit you did to me 2 years ago. I didn't like that shit, and I'm gonna tell you about your fucking self in the best Cancer way that you guys know how to be Cancers. Cancers know how to make a motherfucker feel real bad about anything they've done to them. If you know anything about energy, Cancers can come into a room and switch the energy of an entire room. Mm-hmm. So all of that to say, it's nothing wrong with revisiting past emotional traumas and trying to heal them, especially going through a house like the 12th house. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's nothing wrong with reaching out to people and lashing out gracefully about some things that you did to hurt me and that bothered me. It's nothing wrong with that. But Cancers, try to keep it light in a Gemini fashion. Try to keep it non-petty, because Cancers can be the president of Pettyville. So try to keep it non-petty, keep it very light. You know, just cuss a motherfucker out and walk off very swiftly and professionally. and just go on about your day. So don't like nudge at them and send long text messages, paragraph after paragraph. Don't do any of that. Just like let that shit ride and try to fit into your fourth house energy, because Venus rules your fourth house. So Venus retrograde ruling your fourth, it could make you a little lonely, or you might want to be around family. You might need to be loved on a little bit more. You might need a little more hugs and kisses this month. You might just need your tribe to, let you put your head in their bosoms. Cancers love to do that. To sit their head in their mama's titties. They love to do that. And just get the love that you need. But you could be upset or crying or whining or pissing and moaning about 10th house things, because Venus also rules your 10th house. So it could be a loss of employment or income. You could be having upheavals at work or with your superiors. So keep that in mind. Try not to make yourself look bad when it comes to work things. Make sure you're doing your very best, dotting your I's, crossing your T's, because Venus in retrograde in Gemini can also be like embarrassment, or you do something that you're not proud of, or somebody caught you doing something that you didn't really want people to see. So yeah, be mindful of that.
Yeah, I think you covered a lot. No, I think you covered a lot for Cancer.
Yeah.
Because it's in their in their 12th house. Yeah, so very emotional, and it rules your fourth, very emotional house as well. That's the Cancer house. So family and emotions and everything. A lot of things coming up for Cancers indeed. I would say with it being in the 12th house, people from the past can come back. You guys are one of the signs that can definitely happen. And that can be, maybe you don't see them, but maybe it is. They come back in memory. They come back in your dreams even. You can have dreams about people from your past and how they made you feel or how you made them feel, and experiences with them that were very emotional. It could be tying up loose ends with certain relationships with people. Maybe there is unfinished business that's very emotional for you, and maybe you felt like you lost a chance with somebody, the one that got away. You may want to contact them, or maybe somebody that App already said this, they hurt you in the past, and you may be like, you know what, I never got to give this motherfucker a piece of my mind and let them know how they hurt me, so let me go back and let them know what's up, and just like maybe just let it all out and then release it and let it go. So, and then Cancers, with it ruling your Venus ruling your 10th and it being retrograde, just be mindful of any new career opportunities that are presented to you. Make sure you read all the fine print, that you have a full, clear understanding of what the agreement is within this opportunity, if any comes up. If you want to do like a rebranding of yourself, if you have a public image, a public persona, that even means your social media for some people, and you're a Cancer, just you may like go back over some things and think about how you want people to see you and know you, but maybe making a permanent decision or move, this may not be the best time to like implement something, establish something, and expect it to stick. Maybe after the retrograde period is over, whatever came to you, then you can put it into place if at that time you feel like it still applies. But it can come up, like wanting to rebrand, change your moniker, your name, your handle, any of that stuff, your business name, during this time. So that's my take on Cancers.
Yeah. So, Jack, you got Leo.
Yeah, so Leo, I love Leo energy. This is your 11th house. So, yeah, well, the 11th house is all about social circles, groups that you're part of. And what? So Venus retrograde, we're not going out. We're like, we've got social distancing going on. So Leo's like, oh my God, no one's going to see me. I can't be my badass Leo self. And actually, this is asking you now to find the ways to still use your Leo energy, whether that be through social media, getting together with your friends via Skype parties, FaceTiming, connecting with people in different ways so you can still be seen. That's very important to you. Also, in the meantime, yes, you're being restricted in your groups, but this is the 11th house also rules your long-term goals and your gains as well. So this is a time now for you to internalise and actually work on yourself and where you want to be. Yes, it's great being Leo right inside of the party and the centre of the group, but this is the 11th house is your goals, your dreams, your long-term plans. So this is the time now for you to spend time on you. Where is Leo going? What is it you want to be doing in the long term? So yeah.
Okay.
Friends, how many of us have been? That's where it is for Leo.
Yeah.
I would say for Leo, with Venus retrograde in your 11th house, this is probably not the best time to put out any new projects that you disperse via social media, the internet. I would say large groups of people in person, but the Rona has us all like not able to do that right now. But even via any other ways of communicating with large groups all at one time, not the best time to put out and release anything brand new. Is everything cool? Okay. Yeah, not the best time. So what else? Venus in the 11th. Oh, don't hook up with any friends, Leo. Do not. Venus retro in your 11th. Venus is relationships. The 11th is friends. You could start looking at your friend like, yo, my homie's looking good over there for some reason. Let's yeah, let's see what's good. And then it could like not end that well. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it turns out it's not that good of an idea to hook up with that friend, and then that could affect your other groups of friends, the friends that you have in common, the circles that you run in, and then you have to see this mother all the time, even though it didn't work out. And then your friends may have to choose between you and them, and then you can't invite them because they'll be here, and then what drama may go down. I'm sorry, personal experiences trickling through. Woo. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good one. Leos, don't dip your foot in the friend pond. Definitely not. And try not to have any upheavals or confrontations with friends right now. With it retrograding in your 11th. Just try to, keep things cordial. Don't take things personally, unnecessarily, definitely be mindful of what you're saying, what you're speaking, because for you, Libra is your 3rd house. So that's communication. So you could say something to set a friend off, or maybe you were doing your little Leo thing and being kind of self-centered. So try not to take people off when how people are coming across and how you're showing up, So be mindful of that.
Cool. All right. So next up is Virgo. I'm trying to mark the times down. Okay. Okay, so Virgo. So if you're a Virgo rising, a Virgo sun, maybe even Virgo moon, but mostly rising, Venus is going to go retrograde in your 10th house of your career, your public image. And how the world sees you, especially if you are in the public eye or on social media in any type of way. If you have a business, it is your brand. That's the 10th house. It's your house of authority, people respecting your authority, your elders, your legacy, all that stuff. And also Venus for Virgos, especially Virgo risings. Venus rules your second house of money, of earned income, and it also rules your ninth house, which is like travel. It's training for career, job, or that could be college courses or whatever. Adventurousness, that's all what can be affected here. Pardon me, technical difficulties with my lighting. Anyway, okay, so Virgos, but mainly the 10th house is going to be affected for you guys. So like I mentioned, for what sign was that had 10th house of career stuff going on. Same thing for you guys, Virgo. If you guys are presented with any new opportunities within your career, just be very careful with them during this Venus retrograde, because all may not be what it seems. Something may be like this grand opportunity, this grand package, or offer that a company or whoever is giving to you, presenting to you, but then maybe there's some fine print that you can easily skip over, even though Virgos tend to be very detailed and all about that fine print. Okay, you guys may not pay full attention during this Venus retro, or maybe there's something that the company or business partner, whoever, can leave out and be like, oh, whoops, especially because of the square to Neptune. There could be misinformation, missing information. So it's like, oh, well, we forgot to tell you, haha, you're actually not getting paid, on salary, it's hourly. Or, oh, we forgot to tell you, there's actually no benefits. Haha, sorry, but everything else sounds amazing. Like something like that can happen. When it comes to, yes, you guys are another sign that may want to rebrand. If you have a business or a public image, this may not be the time to really put that into place. Maybe to come up with the ideas and write them down. And then once Venus is direct and out of its shadow period, then that could be the time where if it still makes sense to you, you put that into place. Changing your names on your business, your social media, whatever, that can be something that it does. If you are in an existing career, Virgo, maybe you're rethinking that career path or the corporation that you work for or whatever. You could be rethinking it, like, I don't know if I'm in the right place or not. And you can go back and forth a lot. Going back and forth is cool, but maybe making a finalized decision during this time is not the best thing to do. Wait until Venus goes direct. For some Virgos, maybe this could be like, yo, don't be dating nobody at work during this time. Okay, like, don't be dating nobody at work. 10th house is your career. It's the workplace. Venus is dating. It just may not go very well. First of all, I have a rule against that anyway. That's just me. Okay, but sometimes Virgos like the comfort of knowing that they've got their job they go to every day, and they have their person that they're with. They see them every day too. Everything is scheduled. It's the same person and the same job all the time. Some Virgos dig that, okay? And that's fine and everything. But starting to date somebody in your career sphere during Venus retrograde, it may not work out in the end. In the end, it may just go to shit. And then you got to see that motherfucker every day at work. And then there's going to be tension and stress there. And Virgos are already tense and stressed enough, okay? So hold off. If the boss is looking good, or somebody within your career is looking good, try to hold off. Once Venus goes direct, see if they, still look good to you, or if they look like a fucking wildebeest and look like danger, red alert. Don't go there. What was I thinking? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I have to say about that. What do you guys have to say for Virgos?
My cappy cringes at the thought of dating people that I work with or do business with. Like, cringeworthy. Like, you don't shit where you eat. So that's just a Cappy rule 101.
Right.
Don't. But I know Taurus and Virgos feel differently. Kill two birds with one stone. I'm always at work anyway, so might as well fuck with somebody I work with.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Cappy is the only earth sign that did not get down with that motto.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I think I've bent the rules slightly before as a fellow earth sign. But you know, not fully engaged in a full-on relationship at a permanent workplace. Never done it. Nah. So Virgo, don't do it.
Yeah. Oh, so I'm up next with Libra.
Word.
Okay. So, hey Libras, how y'all doing? So the retrograde is going to be happening in your ninth. So this shall get interesting. And because your ninth house, of course, rules your higher mind, higher levels of thinking, deep thoughts. But ninth house, its natal ruler is also Jupiter. So you may want to be a little bit more free. You might want some more rest and relaxation, time to read, time to write. You want to get up and gallop off into the sunset. You will want to do that too, depending on where you are and how strict your, lockdown proceedings are. You will have to deal with that. But for the most part, pay attention to transportation, how you're traveling, being safe with your travels and distances and stuff like that, driving your car, pay attention to stuff like that, pay attention to your energy as well. Other thing I wanted to say about ninth house, some people have thought processes that they aren't comfortable with. A lot of times I notice, like, I have a sister that's a Libra, and I notice when she's having like ninth house stuff, that's when she gets kind of deep and all woo-woo, people can kind of dig into their spiritual bag when they are having ninth house transit. So pay attention to that. If you're looking at any synchronicities, pay attention to any angel numbers that you see in rotation, or look for all of the messages from the divine right now. And even with it being in retrograde, you can pay a little bit closer attention, or you can notice something that you didn't notice before, or you could have an aha moment because your ninth house light bulb moment over your head, like, oh, I didn't even think about it like that. So, pay attention to that. And then with Libra being your first house, that's Venus, again, with your appearance, your identity. Jack spoke about that with his experience with this before. So, pay attention to, what's going on with your identity. If you're trying to have any cosmetic surgeries, put those on the back burner. But I think all elective surgeries have stopped right now. So that's a good thing. Postpone those as well. But any self-esteem issues that you're having. So if you're a Libra rising and you're feeling like you've been snacking too much or you've been eating too much, take this Venus retrograde time as a pause to, do a little bit extra working out, do a little bit of extra, curbing your diet or your appetite, so that when Venus goes direct, then you can reveal the new you, the new saucy, jazzy you. So you can think about it like that from a first house perspective. And then, of course, with the eighth house stuff, Jack touched on that as well, because Taurus rules your eighth house. So try not to, splurge any extra cash that you may not have on 8th house things, i.e. new penis or new vagina, put a cap on it, put a cap on the price, like, all right, I'm only going to spend $50 on this person, and that's it,
That's a blowjob.
So, yeah, and I noticed some women do say Libra men can be cheap. But for me, my experience with Libras spend on what they value the most. So if a Libra doesn't like you a lot, then they'll be cheap. But if a Libra likes you a lot, they'll spend their whole fucking check. So it's like where they deem they like you, where they like you on the barometer. But at that same time, pay attention that you're not like getting financially exploited with the Venus retro ruling, the Venus energy ruling your 8th house. And depending on how your chart is set up, it might kind of fall back towards the cusp that way. So, pay attention to that, because you don't want to lose things, because the 8th house, like I told you guys before, is a money house. It rules your spouse's money. So if you're a Libra, something might go down with your spouse's funds, or your spouse might get laid off or lose an income. And 8th house also rules benefits. So a lot of people are applying for unemployment. So if you are a Libra, something might go on with your unemployment benefit, or they might cut your food stamps off, or they might cut your Social Security check, those type of things. All that 8th house stuff, like these stimulus checks that everybody just got, that's all 8th house shit. Money from the government, that's 8th house stuff. Because Pluto is one of the planets that can rule government with 8th house and all of that. So pay attention to that money region, and just be mindful. So, yeah, because I don't want to hear stories about how y'all spent too much money on a fling and now they gone. They done disappeared once the Venus retro is over.
Yeah, Jack, you're Libra rising.
I'm just drinking my tea.
He already got it last time, April, so he learned his lesson. He ain't doing it this time. Just like I ain't getting pregnant by no randoms this time.
Staying in the house. So, okay, is it me with
Yeah, you with Scorpio.
Scorpio. Okay, so Scorpio, this is your 8th house. So this is also one of the things is to do your sex life. So this could be a literal block on your sex life, whether your sex life is non-existent, you're not getting the sex that you want if you are partnered. This is Venus in Gemini. This is about communication. You need to communicate what you want. Scorpios, I find, sometimes the ones that I've dealt with, and I've had a lot of Scorpio dick, and they want you to read their minds because they think that because they feel everything so deeply, we all feel it too. I'm air sign, we don't feel that, but if you tell us, we will do it. You know what I mean? So Scorpio, you need to, if you're partnered or you've got a boo that you're connecting with, this is a great time to tell them what you want. This is not the best time to hook up with new people. This is a house of others. You might meet people who, and it's a house of secrets as well. So partners that you do meet may have secrets. They may already be involved with somebody else, be in the house of others. So just take it with a pinch of salt, especially with April saying about Neptune transit, that the wool will be pulled over your eyes. And the retrograde season is going on for a while now, so it'll be on until August. So just be mindful of people coming into your life, and if they're telling you one thing, that Neptune, oh my God, everything's amazing. Take the glasses off. I mean, Scorpios are usually quite good at don't trust anybody anyway. So they might be a bit better. Sorry. It's true though, they don't trust people too good anyway. So if you're finding that your rose-tinted glasses are on, just be a bit more mindful with that. And especially because Venus rules your 7th house anyway, so this is going to be tied in with relationships, not just love and sex, but relationships, friendships, your business relationships as well. So this is not a good time to get into new partnership with anybody. he's offering you like the world, because it might not be the case, especially once retrograde is over. This is your 12th house as well. So 8th and 12th, this is a great time to internalise, work on your intuition, work on your astrology, delve into the occult. If you're not into that, use your intuition, use your gut instinct instead. Listen to your voice, listen to your inner voice. You already know the answers, and you see the red flags anyway in situations. So honour that. You're not going crazy.
Yeah, I wanted to add that too, Jack. When you said that about Venus retro happening in their 8th, so I agree. You could be very horny, Scorpios, Venus retrograde in the 8th. I have experienced that because the last Venus retrograde, it happened in that region for me, the one we had fall. So I remember being very horny at that time. And I was, April, if you remember, I was attracting some real good-looking men at that time, and their peens weren't working. So if you guys remember, I was attracting some drop-dead gorgeous dudes, Venus energy, but it was in retrograde, like one of the most handsomest guys I attracted at that time, and he had a motorcycle accident, and he had erectile dysfunction issues. So it's like,
I had yes.
So you could be really enamored with somebody who is like fine and looking good, but you can't make that sexual connection with them, maybe because of the quarantine, you can't get to see them, or maybe they're working too much and you can't chill with them how you want to. Or maybe you find out that this person is gorgeous and we hella cool, but we're not sexually compatible. The sex is trash. So Venus retrograde in the 8th could definitely be some crazy shit like that. And Jack is right, with Venus ruling your 7th, not only do you want good sex right now, you want the consistency of a union. 7th house, longevity shit. You want to be booed up right now, but the energy doesn't call for it, that retrograde, or something's off with it, with that retrograde. And then with Venus ruling your 12th, you'll get all emo about the shit, because we know Scorpio folks, when Scorpios ain't getting a sexual ego stroke, they feelings get real hurt. Like, nobody wants my vagina. What's wrong with me? Nobody wants my penis. What's wrong with me? So, if nobody's having sex with Scorpios, if nobody's using that genital, they're like, oh, what the fuck? I must be awful. People hate me. I need to be having connections and relations for me to feel whole. So, yeah.
I definitely think that Scorpio is one of the signs that will have exes coming back from the dead.
Yeah. Or they could be the one that's reaching out to exes because they need
connection.
That sexual energy real bad. Like,
so put down the phone. Do not text them. Step away.
And I'm Mars and Scorpio. I get it. If I go too long without getting any male attention in that way, it's like, okay, this is some bullshit. What's going on?
Or if you are going to text them, just know that it's not going to be, it's just going to be like a retrograde thing.
Yeah. Okay. So be accepting of it being a retrograde thing and move along.
Yeah. We're all adults here, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a nun, so I don't know what you guys are talking about. None of that shit is gonna affect me. I'm good as a Scorpio. I've got the chastity belt on lock.
Listen to her locking her chastity belt. Did you hear that click?
Yes, the key. Here's the key right here. Here's the key right here. It's going nowheres.
The shades. It goes to Maple 6 Life.
And Venus the retrograde girl gonna have you dusting that key off.
Yes, there are some times I'm like, it's right here, it's right here. But no.
But I just do what I did. I embraced Uranus and Taurus and Summers. Fantastic.
Yo, that's
Well,
a
y'all
whole other
know
thing.
I ain't that friend. I ain't that friend to tell nobody to shut the coochie down. I ain't that friend. I ain't that friend.
No, she's not.
Do your business.
Retrograde only just starting. I'll ask you again in July.
Oh my god. Yes, even if it's like the most,
You'd be like, fuck the chastity vow.
even if it's the most dangerous situation, she is not the friend to tell you to turn it down. She's not.
Did you die though? No.
Yes! That's what she says! It's death defying. If it defies death, it's still good. Do it.
Oh my God. I feel so bad. But yes, like, but y'all know I'm Jupiter in Aries. Have an adventure. You guys.
Yeah.
Yo, yeah.
I'm Jupiter in Scorpio. I'm all about the sex.
Oh, dang.
Get the D and ask questions later, right?
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
If you haven't blocked them by then.
Yeah, and her Aquarius energy is like, just do it for experimental purposes. Experiment.
Right?
You're here to experience everything.
Aquarius turn everything into a fucking science project, right?
Yes.
It's an experience.
And scientists.
All right.
No, that's the truth. Some of the shit that April finds herself in, I'd be like, well, you want to roll the dice? I don't know.
Do it.
Notice me disappear into a dark scorpionic fog. Poof, I'm gone. I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. Anyways. All right.
I'm salivating now. This is amazing.
Oh my god. No, I'm listening to you guys' advice as a Scorpio, and I'll take it. All right, so next up is Sagittarius. Let's see, timestamp 39. Okay, 329 30. Okay, so Sagittarius, Venus retrograde is happening in your 7th house of relationships with other people, relating one-on-one to others, but dating, yes, this is definitely a transit for Sagittarians, to where people may come back from the past, whether in person, in memory, in your DMs, or whatevers. Venus for Sagittarius, it rules your 6th house of health and work and your daily regimens. And it also rules your 11th house of friendships and organizations you belong to. The organizations you belong to can also mean the corporation that you work for, the company that you work for, if it is a large network. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, Sagittarians. First of all, the ghosts of relationships past, yes, they can come back to haunt your asses, okay? What you decide to do with that is up to you guys, of course. But you guys may have the exes coming back with their sob stories, especially because Venus is opposing Neptune all through the month of May. Neptune is it rules our emotions and everything, and sob stories. And unfortunately, it does rule lies and deceit as well. So you can have people coming back saying, but baby, I changed. You know what I'm saying? I changed, I swear. And whether or not you believe them is up to you, but more than likely it's going to be some old bullshit. Okay, so just be aware of that. You can have people come back to you with apologies, because Neptune is an energy where Venus is opposing. It does bring out guilt and remorse in people. So people may come back with sincere apologies, wanting to wrap things up and, just really get it all out. Like, I am so sorry I did this to you in the past, yada, yada, yada. But like I said, what you guys decide to do with that is up to you. But during the retrograde period of Venus, it's not the best time to meet brand new people and try to establish a new solid relationship with them. If you guys want to do the Sag thing and you just want to be fuck boys, fuck girls, and just, in and out, okay, bye, and ghost on them, whatever. You're probably going to be doing that a lot during this time, okay? Because Neptune rules ghosts and ghosting and disappearing on people. And Venus will be opposing that. So some of you guys may just do the in and out thing a lot. Or if you're a Sag that's not really down with that, you may have that done to you by some people. So especially newer connections, newer relationships or whatever. So if you guys are on dating apps, dating sites, or you're meeting some random, don't expect it to stick. It's not 100%, but more than likely, just see how things go. Be lighthearted about the situation with them. But once Venus is out of retrograde, then see if you're still feeling them in that type of a way. And if they are somebody you feel like they're worthy of you investing in the long run, if that's something that you wish to do. So Sag, be very careful when it comes to dating, especially new people and especially exes. If you're in an existing relationship or connection with somebody, this could be a time that it could possibly be beneficial for you guys, because retro means review and revise, and Gemini is about communication. So maybe trying to clear up some miscommunications, misunderstandings about your partner or the person that you are involved with or have feelings for, whatever, getting back together with them and saying, yo, like, whatever, just communicating and getting things in the clear. Because the opposition to Neptune, it doesn't always have to mean, fog and fuzz and you're not going to see things clearly. I find at least sometimes a harsh Neptune aspect can make people question reality, to where reality is brought to them like a light bulb moment. Like, that's fake and this is what's really going on. So for some of you guys with your relationships, maybe you thought something about someone, and it wasn't clear, but you have a conversation, you get things in the clear, and you're like, yo, this whole time I was bugging and thinking that yada, 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 whatever about you, and it's not even true. This is what's true about you, which could be something good or bad, So that's within existing connections. It could be a reconnection, a rekindling, a respark of something. Somebody asked earlier in the chat, if an ex comes back to you during Venus retrograde, is it good or bad? What should you do? That's really on you. And Sag is, like I said, you guys are one of the number one signs that may be experiencing this. Whatever you do is on you, but just be aware of the fact that there's a high probability that things may not stick, whether that is a breakup or a makeup or a brand new, deciding to date someone. With Venus ruling your 6th house of health, and then you also have your relationship house highlighted too. Sag, you guys are another sign. You need to watch where you're sticking your stuff or who you letting into your stuff, okay? Because the 6th house of health, if the ruler of that is retrograde, there could be some real shit going on. Like, you can catch something. So and I know how Sages are. You guys are the freedom lovers. So you know what I mean by that. Okay, so come on, just be cautious, you guys. If you're gonna
trotting and thotting.
Yes, thank you, Jack. Jack knows my little sayings. I was just gonna say it. You read my mind. If you're gonna be trotting and thotting, just be cautious, because you never know.
And the top signs that don't like condoms: Sagittarius, Tauruses, Cancers, Pisces, Scorpio. Y'all like the raw meat. And I'm some of those signs, so I like it too. But hey, keep it spiffy. Don't be chilling in the clinic after the Venus retrograde.
Once again, disappears in Scorpio. Doesn't know what you're talking about. But yeah, don't end up in the clinic, Sag, for real. And also don't be, what did you say earlier, App? Sticking your thing in the friend pond or whatever. Sticking your stuff in the friend zone or whatever the hell you yeah. Friends, dating friends or amongst groups of people that you're involved with. That can even mean networks, organizations that you work for. Not the best time for that for Sagittarians either, because something can backfire for you guys when it comes to that during this Venus retrograde.
Yeah, I think people start getting desperate in the lockdown, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, well, I already know them. We work together.
You look cute now.
Yeah.
You look sexy now.
Yeah, you're cute outside of work or outside of. Yeah, or hey, so and so, like we've been homies for a long time.
After retrograde, after the lockdown, you know what's gonna happen. So it's not worth the hassle, is it?
Nah, because then you go back to work or you go around that group of friends or whatever.
Change your job, change your friends.
You gotta see that.
To another city.
You gotta see their asses all the time. Still, and then it's just like, ugh, this again, or this bitch, like, ugh.
Stay at home.
Yeah. So, I know Sagittarians like to try new things, especially when it comes to relationships. They like to try new things, new people. But this is not the best time if you can help it to just jump into something new or within the workplace or within your friendship groups. Stick to your same old Sag or keep to yourself. Hey, chastity belt, get you one.
You need to put a link down below for the chastity belts.
Chastity belt key, $5.99 at Forever 21. .com, because we got the Rona going on. .com Forever 21. So yeah.
Delivery only.
That's what I have to say about that. Oh, wait. One last thing. I know I could talk a lot. Sorry. But if there's any Sagittarians that are not involved with anyone at all, you're not really trying to mess with anybody at all, then this could just be a time period to where you're just thinking a lot about relationships, how you behave in them, what you accept in relationships, what you like, what you don't like. Maybe you are going over ones of the past, but just so you can really think about those things, like, you know, who I like, who I don't, how I've acted, whatever, you know. And then when the retrograde's over, then, you know, if it's time for you to look for a boo, you know what I mean? You've got those things that you had a chance to contemplate about, and, you know, maybe it can help out with your decisions going forward after the retrograde.
Yep, makes sense.
Well, alrighty then.
I'm up for Cappy. Capricorns. As you know, the retrograde is going to be happening in your 6th. So, definitely you want to pay attention to your day-to-day routines, your work life, your structures. A lot of Cappies are probably, if you are a true blue Cappy, you're probably having issues with your day-to-day routine being affected by the COVID-19 situation. The Rona got you out here not being able to work like you like to work, do what you like to do, to feel whole. So if this is affecting you, you may want to restructure your routines. You might want to add some Venusian things to your routine. With the Venus retrograde happening there, you may have noticed that you've been pouring yourself too much into work and you haven't been letting your hair down enough. There's something Venusian lacking in your life, in your day-to-day structures. So you're probably going to want to either incorporate them nicely, or you might feel like, no, I don't want to do those things. I want to work. I want to be focused on this, to be focused on that. But life is preventing you from doing that. You may have been working yourself silly where you haven't been paying attention to your health. You haven't been keeping your doctor's appointments. So you haven't been going to the gym. So you might be in a mode with Venus in retrograde where you're like, hey, let me stop and schedule myself a physical. Let me stop and schedule my dentist appointment. Let me go to the eye doctor. Like all of these wellness checks and preventative examinations and stuff like that, you're ready to start getting back on the ball with those. You might start a new vitamin regimen. You might start a new workout routine as you're beginning to see that maybe your life has been consumed with other things, and now you're ready to, give some take or balance when it comes to work life and your self-help or self-health being 6th house things, and making your self-health a part of your day-to-day routine, not just putting it on the back burner for work and responsibilities and stuff like that. Another thing I wanted to touch on with the 6th house, which I know a lot of times people forget, but your 6th house, of course, rules your pets and things that pester you or bother you too. So little annoyances and stuff like that. So Cappy, you might be a little moody or agitated. You can definitely, if you have any pets or anything that you look after, that could be a bother or a nuisance at this time too. So you might want to add these self-help things to clear your mind, because you're kind of noticing all the little annoyances and all the little chaoses and things like that. You might want to go to the spa when they open up or something like that to kind of let your and again, with it being retrograde, that you don't resist these things opposed to just letting them flow. Don't resist them, just let them flow. Because at a time like this, if you resent them or continue to push them on the back burner, it could create something bigger. So God forbid you go about putting off your, it could have been something that was preventable or something like that. So try not to resist if you're having those feelings, to take control of your health, your fitness, your well-being, stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
Is that all I wanted to say? But yeah, did you guys have anything to add for Cappies?
I do. Cap, you guys are another sign to where workplace romances may not be the best. And I know Appollonia, speaking as a Capricorn sun sign, already said Caps don't really mess with stuff like that. From what I know from what the Cappies that I've known, most of the time that's true. But, certain transits can bring out temptations in people that they just become consumed with the energy, and maybe they just kind of give in to stuff like that, to that temptation. The temptation may be there for you guys too, Capricorn, to maybe date somebody that you work with, because Venus is in your 6th house of the workplace, and then it rules your 10th house of career, and then it also rules your 5th house of dating. So you guys could have maybe somebody try to tempt you. You guys are usually pretty strong-willed and could be like, nah, I don't mess with that. But just know that there could be a possible situation that can arise that can try to bring that about for you guys. And yeah, you guys may be rethinking something to do with your job and your career, your place in the world. If the career that you're on is right for you, or if the job that you're doing matches with the title the title that you would like to have in the end as your career goal. Because the 10th house is you Cappy stuff. It's you guys like to climb the ladder and reach a certain goal. So is the work that you're doing, is it actually going to get you there? Is it putting you on that pathway? So some of you guys can be really thinking about that. And this is not the best time to really make a huge change if you can help it. but definitely reviewing that, thinking about it. I know App is doing some rebuilding and restructuring when it comes to her career right now, and the job that she was working at recently wasn't really cutting it, and so she's taking this time to behind the scenes redo some things, structure some things, build some things. And I'm pretty sure, once Venus is in a good place out of retrograde, she'll be ready to launch and put it into place. So this could be a really good time to just think about stuff to do with your career for Capricorns.
Yeah, definitely agreed.
All right, Jack.
Yes, so I'll move on to Aquarius, so shipping house. So my Aquarius people, this is going to be affecting your dating. Your dating, I think that's also your dating life as well. So this can have issues with blockages to do dating, this is the fifth house of having fun. This can also be like not even wanting to date or not having the dates that you want, or having blockages meeting people. Obviously, with the current situation, with I think everybody, meeting people is going to be through different platforms now. So there's obviously blockages around that and how you meet people, how you interact with people. This is a house of fun. So are you having fun? And what is it you used to do to have fun, and how are you having fun now? There's been a lot of emphasis on your life purpose, this and the other, but not actually. And the fifth house is your inner child, so you need to nourish that as well. Also, the fifth house does rule children, so if you're in lockdown, your kids could be just getting on your nerves, having problems with like entertaining them, because you're trapped in the house with them, trying to find different avenues to, keep them entertained, or children that you look after, for example, can be causing you outgrown grief as well. I'm Aquarius, and I have quite a few planets in Aquarius, so I've found myself that with the retrograde, I've started to go back into things that I used to be interested in, and old hobbies, old skills, old talents, and nurturing those and working on those things I used to be interested in. I've probably forgotten about. So they might start making a entry back into your life again. So I've been doing a lot of work on like ancient astrology. I've got back into languages again. I've started dancing more. So things that you've forgotten about, that you're passionate about, they might start to reignite this Venus retrograde, Venus being passion, things that you enjoy, going backwards through the house of skills and talents as well. This is going to be highlighting your fourth and ninth house as well. So this can be also your home life, how kids are showing up around the home, trying to keep them entertained, like I said before. The ninth house is all to do with always stating with foreign or foreign affairs or people that are different from you. So whether that be through dating, that you'll meet people who are from a different culture to you or a different background to you. And that could be in the local area, being with the fourth house as well. So just be mindful of anyone, like you were saying throughout the video, right? Be mindful of new people that you meet, that you might not last, or they might be telling you the full-on truth, or things might not pan out how you want them, with Venus not being on her natural course going forward, like giving us challenges through love, giving us challenges through dating. However, you can still date and have a good time through this transit. Just know how to work it, and just know that there might be blockages in front of you, but that does not mean you can't still, pursue dating and pursue love, pursue sex. Those aren't cancelled. They're just we have to go back in a different way now. So yeah.
Yeah, I like how you added that in, that it's not completely canceled. Like, we will tell stories, we will tell horror stories, we will crack a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
We crack a lot of jokes about it and everything, but in reality, it's probability and chance, and just the chances of certain things are higher, but it's not like set in stone, gospel. You know what I mean? Like, you guys can still have your fun. I know Aquarius is like, I have you guys close to me.
Yeah.
I have other Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon, Venus, Mars people close to me, and they're still dating. And some things are working, some are not.
I'm still dating. Like I'm like, I know Venus is going retrograde. I shouldn't be speaking to new people. What's the point? But actually, I'm still doing it just because, like, there's other avenues. And I think Gemini is all about communication and being straight through this communication area for us to explore other avenues. And I think that I know the world has stopped. We're still connecting through other ways. So, and if anything, I feel like that we're connecting more now. We're doing this, connecting, and we hadn't had a chance to do it before because we're always so busy. And I think that, I know my dating life, I'm connecting so much more. I've got that Aquarius stellium, and my fifth house has been really popping off, really, just through like online dating and Skype dating and using FaceTime to date. It's been fun, actually. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aquarians are all about that. You guys rule that stuff. So this is probably not like a huge problem for you guys, you know?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, because I've still been dating too. It's been fuckery for sure, but it's an experience.
Yeah, like, as astrologers, you're like, yeah, we know this is going awry, but that doesn't stop us living our life, does it?
Yeah, because you still got to live your life. You still have to be a human.
Yeah. And Libra, we have our needs, so Venus or no Venus, whatever.
Yeah, very true.
All right, so I'm going to finish it off by talking about Pisces, which is my moon sign, Apollonia's moon sign. So, Pisces, Venus is going retrograde in your 4th house, which is where you live. It's also your family, your roots. It's also your deep emotions, being a little emo, introvert, antisocial, if you will, is definitely a 4th house type of a vibe. Let's see. And for Pisces, Venus rules Taurus, which is your 3rd house. It rules Libra, which is your 8th house. Ooh, okay. So what do we have to say about those things? Well, first of all, Venus being retrograde in your 4th house, Pisces. You could be reconnecting with family members, especially ones that are female or that are very Venusian in nature or feminine family members. Maybe you could be reconnecting with your roots, your history, your childhood, going back to childhood. You know what? As a Pisces moon, and the moon can rule all the same stuff as the 4th house, I have found myself wanting to reconnect with more childhood stuff or things of the past, especially like Venus can be associated with music and things you enjoy. I have been wanting to listen to more throwbacks lately. I'm like a throwback queen anyway, but I'm all about a lot of new artists too, and always a lot of new artists are mostly in rotation for me these days, but excuse me. I have been enjoying the throwbacks like heavy since Venus has started going into her little shadow period. And especially music from growing up, I've been wanting to hear that a lot more than usual. So it could be that. It could be like, a lot of Pisces going over old photographs and scrapbooks. Or maybe you guys want to do something creative with those things. Like you find old photographs. You want to create memories. The 4th house is about memories. So you guys are another sign, Pisces, that could have a lot of memories of the past and your childhood coming up. And it can be stuff that is potentially like painful, some wounds from the past, or family members that have hurt you in some sort of way, things that happened to you when you grew up coming back up to the surface, but maybe they're coming back up to be addressed. Maybe there's relationships with family members that have opportunities to be repaired at this time too. The retrograde period doesn't have to be all bad and just all like, like crying in your room all emo and shit. It doesn't have to be about that. You can cry it out, but also, just like Cancers, Pisces, you guys are another sign that can have like things about the way people made you feel in the past coming up for you, lots of emotions coming to the surface, and this is an opportunity to get it all out. Write them a letter, write them a message, or even like talk to them, connect with them and be like, yo, look I'm just gonna lay it all out on the line. This is how you make me feel or made me feel in the past, and just release it. You know what I'm saying? Or I've had to do this already as a Pisces moon, but I wrote a letter. I've done this before. This is a thing for Pisces people that could be good. Even if you never give the person the letter, at least writing it all out you can get all those emotions out to where they're not harboring within you, or they come out in other ugly ways. You know what I'm saying? And I just spoke to somebody close to me that has another Pisces moon close to them besides me, and they were saying, this Pisces moon friend of mine, they use me as their journal, their diary, and their emotional dumping grounds, which is fine, but I'm an empath and I take in all their pain and this and that, and they're just going overboard with it. So, I gave her advice. I said, you tell your Pisces moon homie to start journaling if they don't do already. Journal, whether that's electronic voice journal, written type journal, to do that, or to leave you voice notes. Me and App, we're both Pisces moons. And I was explaining to her how we can both be that for each other, but we will leave voice notes to each other that we can address once we are ready to dive into all that emotional shit, Sometimes we talk on the phone and dump it all out, but there's sometimes we just, that's what we do. And it's like, once we're prepared for all the emotions, okay, we'll dive in, we'll address them, we'll talk to each other, or whatever. So I told her about that, and she said, you know what, I'm going to suggest this to this other Pisces that I know, because of all the emotional stuff welling up. You know what I mean? So figuring out ways to deal with your emotions, Pisces, which we have a lot of, could be something that this Venus retrograde helps you to realize. Like, maybe you need to realize that you could be a little too much, a little too extra, doing the most with your feelings, and how to handle that. What else with the fourth house? Well, it does rule where you live, your house, your apartment, your flat, your whatever. You live in a shack, you live in your car, wherever you lay your head at night is the fourth house. So it's not the best time for Pisces to make the decision to move somewhere and actually take the action to move, if you can help it. If you can't help it, make sure you read all the fine print with the agreements, with the rental agreements, the lease, whatever. Read the fine print. Go over the things with the owners or whomever many times to make sure there's a clear understanding of what the agreement for that place of living is. If you want to decorate your house, this may not be the best time to decorate your living space, Pisces, because you may buy something that you think looks fly right now, but then once the Venus retrograde's over, you'll think that shit is ugly as hell and be like, what was I thinking? This doesn't fit my feng shui, my vibe. This isn't my vibe, which Pisces loves to say vibe a lot. So this isn't quite my vibe here. This little, whatever.
14th and 15th. So, yeah.